In the quiet suburbs, Dave thought he had it all. A loving wife, 2 grown children, and a stable career. But everything changes when he finds a letter on the kitchen table, revealing Stephanie's secret affair with a close colleague. The discovery shatters Dave's world, spiraling him into a whirlwind of anger, betrayal, and confusion. As he grapples with the truth, Dave must decide whether to forgive or fight back. His once peaceful home becomes a battleground of emotions, with every decision pushing him closer to a breaking point. In this gripping tale of love and revenge, nothing is as it seems, and no one will emerge unscathed. Steph wasn't home when I got back Thursday night. I thought she was just running late. No big deal. It wasn't the first time. We didn't have any big plans anyway. It was the start of a long holiday weekend, and I thought we would just relax at home. I figured she would be back soon, and then we could decide what to have for dinner. I tried calling her, but her phone was off. I left a message saying I was home, that I loved her, and that I would see her soon. I started to get a little worried when I found the note. She had left it on the kitchen table, which wasn't the best place for it. That table was always messy, and we had to clear it off every time we wanted to use it. Dave, I'm doing this in the wrong way. I know that. Before I say anything else, I want to say that you deserve much better from me. I'm really sorry for that. I wanted to talk to you in person. I've tried so many times, but I never had the courage to do it. First, you need to know this isn't about you or how I feel about you. I do love you, and I always have. Marrying you was the best choice of my life. I'm so thankful to have you in my life. You are a great husband, a caring father to our kids, and the best partner anyone could dream of. I feel proud to be your wife, and I really hope our marriage can survive what I need to tell you. I won't be home tonight or this weekend. I'm going out on a date. Yes, I set a date just for the weekend. I'll be out of town and back Monday afternoon. I will not tell you who it is or where we are going. I don't want you to do something you might regret. This is our first trip together, and it's a big change for us. I'm afraid this has been going on for a while, and you just haven't seen it. It hasn't hurt you or our relationship. In fact, it has been good for us. I feel happier and appreciate you even more. It has made our marriage stronger. But I can't deny that I have developed strong feelings for another man. I fell in love with him without planning to. I need to continue with this relationship for now. I really hope you will understand me and find it in your heart to accept this and forgive me. I know you are probably hurt. I don't know what else to say. My feelings for this man are real, and love isn't wrong. I know this will be hard for you. I see that the situation isn't good, and I could have handled it better. But this is how things are, and I don't regret what I have chosen to do. I believe I would regret it much more if I hadn't taken this step. I would have spent my whole life wondering what if I could never live that way. Looking back, I think I should have let you be part of the choice to welcome someone else into our marriage. I only wanted to protect your feelings. I would have started this relationship anyway, no matter your answer. I was afraid it would be too much for you, so I thought it best to keep it from you. Please believe me, I didn't mean to hurt you. I hope you don't decide to end our marriage because of this. I don't want you to break up our family. I made my choices and I can't change them now. You will react in your own way. Maybe you'll want to take a break, or maybe you'll think about divorce, but that's not what I want. I still love you deeply. If we work together, we can find a way through this. We can make it so we all live happily and in peace together. In a perfect world, you and this other person would be close friends and equal partners to me. I could be a loving wife to both of you. Maybe that's just a dream, but I'm not afraid to say what I need anymore. Even if we can't go that far, I believe we can talk and figure this out. So please take these next few days to think hard about what you want. My phone will be off, so please don't try to call me. I won't call you unless it's really important. When I return on Monday, hopefully your feelings of jealousy and anger will be less strong and we can have a calm and open talk. I truly love you, Dave. I'm sorry things turned out this way. Try to have a good weekend and take care of yourself. We will talk on Monday. Love, your dear wife, Stephanie. Next chapter. How could you do this to me? I can't even deal with this. I will not tell you who they are. I know who he is. He's thin and a bit sensitive. Lee Davenport, the music teacher at the high school where you work. He always gave me bad vibes. I can't believe you'd think I didn't notice. You think I'm just being dramatic? You really liked him. It's hard to see what you see in him. He seems so fragile. You say he's vegan, has food sensitivities, and is often complaining. You invite him over a lot and are so caring about his special meals. And he barely eats anything. He loves peas. Who gets excited about peas? You still act like this isn't affecting us. But I did notice. I felt uneasy when I first met him, and that feeling hasn't gone away. You kept talking about that guy like you were a lovesick teenager. You went on and on about him for months. You asked him to dinner all the time because you said he had trouble making friends. You tried to set him up with women you knew and asked for my advice, which you never listened to. Then, at one point, you said he was gay, and somehow that made him more appealing to you. You kept mentioning he was gay to make me feel less worried, but I knew it wasn't true. He never showed any interest in anyone but you. Then about 2 years ago, you suddenly stopped talking about him as much. It was a relief for me. Don't think I didn't see that you started being more loving toward me. I tricked myself into believing our marriage was better. Maybe I thought we were okay because of that little time apart. Maybe this happens when kids leave home. Mike and Jessica were looking at colleges when all this started. I thought you were excited about our new freedom, but I was wrong. You were looking forward to your own freedom. Don't say I didn't see it coming. I never felt jealous. Don't even say that. I didn't drive myself crazy worrying about you and him and what you were doing. You might think I did, but I didn't. You noticed. You saw what you were doing to me. You called my worries cute and silly. You laughed at me for feeling that way. You said we were just friends and co-workers. You told me I was imagining things. You insisted there was nothing to worry about. That's what you said every time. I just raised an eyebrow about my concerns with that guy. No. You made it clear my job was to trust you and believe everything would be fine. If I had stood up for myself, I would have been the bad one. You used my feelings against me. We spent the last 2 years of our marriage playing a dangerous game. It seemed like I could never say anything because I would look bad. I never accused you of anything because that would mean I was greedy and selfish. You called me childish, insecure, and weak. You made me believe it. I thought I was losing my mind. That felt easier than accepting the truth about you. You used our kids against me. If I ever told the truth, I'd be the bad guy ruining our marriage and breaking up our family. You took every bit of love and trust I gave you and twisted it. You broke me down so much it's not even funny. You act like you're better than everyone while you keep doing this. What kind of person are you, thinking everything is okay? Enough is enough. I'm done with you, Stephanie. Next chapter. I paced around the house like a wild animal trapped in a cage. Inside, I was shouting at myself, shouting at her and shouting at him. How could this be happening? It was just a letter, a silly piece of paper. She was just fooling herself. Deep down, I knew she wouldn't discuss this with me face to face. I knew her too well. She told herself that to feel better. She must have typed and changed that letter 10 times on her laptop, carefully choosing her words to make it seem like she was taking responsibility. But she really wasn't. And it made me look like the bad guy if I couldn't handle her choices. She probably spent weeks on it. When she finally got it right, she wrote it out neatly on some fancy paper from her mom that we never used. She wanted me to see that she was serious, as if it was a love letter or something important. At least one good thing came from all this. I knew I wasn't losing my mind. For 2 years, I'd been convinced I hadn't seen what I actually saw. I didn't believe what I knew, and I didn't feel what I felt. My God, it felt almost unreal. Whatever was left of my marriage to Stephanie is gone. It's been gone for a long time. Now I finally understand where I stand. I was just one of her husbands. My feelings mattered enough for her to lie to me, but not enough to stop her from being unfaithful. I didn't even matter enough for her to speak with me. I had no idea what was happening in my own marriage. She'd just say, "I made a mistake, but now it's your problem." The divorce and the broken home would be my fault for not accepting her plans to betray me. After a few hours, the initial anger began to fade. It was like a match burning brightly, but turning into a flame that could last forever. Now I felt a deep sadness that I had never experienced before. How could she do this? How could she be so cold? Did she really not care about me at all? It seemed that way, especially if I stood in the way of whatever she wanted. If she could do this, then I didn't truly know her after all. 22 years of marriage gone because she wanted to have fun, regardless of how I felt about it. I didn't even deserve to know until she decided to tell me. She still wouldn't talk. I was just her clueless husband in her way, and I'd be the bad guy if I didn't accept it. She would handle my feelings later when I was done crying. Was I really that terrible? Did she really feel she had to go outside our marriage to find what she needed? Why couldn't she have talked to me? If she wasn't happy, couldn't we have tried to fix things together? Did she really have to treat me like this? Was she really going to just forget about me so fast? Come on, Steph. How did we end up here? What are we going to do about the house? I don't have a place to go, not yet. Maybe things will get better. Maybe I'll find a new place. Maybe she will. How could any of this work? Why did she have to change our lives like this? Oh no, no! She doesn't want to change anything. She wants to keep living her life just like before. She still wants to spend time with him, but now it feels public. Maybe she'll start staying at his place. Maybe she'll want to bring him into this house. My house, my house, my house, oh man. And act like he belongs here too. Why would she think that? What is she thinking? I never expected to feel this way. This anger, these tears, my thoughts are a mess. I feel anxious and scared, and who knows what else. It's overwhelming. I've been pacing around the house for hours now. I feel so tired, but sleep won't come. I haven't eaten since lunch, but I'm not hungry. I'm surprised I haven't gotten sick. Maybe I should get a drink, but I can't make myself do that. It wouldn't help. I already feel out of it. Part of me sees that I'm just going along with Stephanie's plan. Everything is going the way she wants. I'm left here to feel all the hurts while she stays away from it. Then we can talk. And then she'll try to bring me back under her control. This isn't right. She treats me like one of the teens at her school. They all feel angry and lost and unsure. She helps them calm down and brings them back to the routine. This is a big mistake, Steph. I'm not a kid. I'm not someone you can easily control. You can't act like the problem is my feelings. My feelings are real and valid. And you know what? I have options. I have the power to change things in ways you won't like. I can shake your world just like you did mine. I won't just go along with it. Until now, I've let her knock me back. Not anymore. I have time. I have space to think and plan my next steps. I'm not going to play her game. I'm not going to just sit here and take it. I'm going to do something unexpected, something that will catch her off guard, something that is not what she thinks I'll do. I got into my car and drove without a destination. I just needed to escape. If only I knew what to do next. Next chapter. The Diamond Lounge didn't look great on a good day, and today wasn't one of those days. But at night, the bright lights made it feel like a fun fair. The walls were painted bright pink with flashy colors, making the place look shiny and a little cheap. I hadn't been to a club like this in years. The last time was at Keith's bachelor party, and we were barely allowed in because of our age. The workers here now were much younger than I remembered. Some of them could have been Jessica's age. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. Standing at the entrance was a big man in a snug t-shirt and a jacket that looked too small. Jerome was polite and friendly, but he made it clear that everything had to be respectful tonight. He took my entrance fee and welcomed me inside. Walking into the club was a bit confusing. The bass of the music felt like a loud truck. The lights were red, pink, and flashing white, and it all made me a bit dizzy. The dancers were wearing clothes that were tight, almost like underwear. Some women were wearing tiny pasties, which was not what I usually saw on a Friday night. But after a few minutes, I started to get used to it. I went to the ATM in the corner, took out what I hoped was enough cash, and frowned at the service fee. The drinks tasted terrible, but the dancers were talented. Each dancer would come over after their performance, chat with those who gave big tips, and invite them into private rooms. I didn't catch the attention of the first few, but Candy approached me right after her dance. "Hi! Thank you for your generosity. Did you enjoy my performance?" "Yes, it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it," I replied. "I'm glad to hear that. My name is Candy. What's yours?" "Dave." "Nice to meet you, Dave," she said. Usually I would just flirt, but I can sense heartache from far away. She had a soft southern accent, maybe from Tennessee or Kentucky. "I promise I can help. That's what I do. All the girls here have stage names. Mine is actually Cookie." "Cookie? Is that a real name?" Yes, I only share it here with people I trust because I need their trust. Later, I'll show you my ID with my real name and address. I can tell you are not someone who comes here often. You're here because something has hurt you. You feel lonely and unsure of what to do. I can see that. Some people save animals or volunteer, but I mend broken hearts. Your wife must have really worn you down, right? Yes. Is it that obvious? It is to me. I can see it in your face. She took my left hand and held it gently. You have rough spots on your hands here and here. She lightly touched the place where your wedding ring used to be, feeling the smooth skin in between. Your ring has been on your hand for a long time. You wore it for years, and it hasn't come off for quite a while. Did it come off tonight? Yes, I left it in the car. I wondered if Steph took her ring off when she was with Lee. Probably not. She would never think of being unfaithful to our marriage. Why would she even think about her ring? She took my other hand. You're right-handed. Let me see your palm. The light was dim, but she found what she needed. Your love line is broken. There's a space, and look here. It seems like you have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, twins. Wow, how did that happen? Am I wrong? No, you're right. Mike and Jessica, they have gone off to college. That's great. Good for both of you. Yeah, thanks. No, I'm being honest. You're doing a really good job as a dad. What school do they go to? Mike is at the State University studying architecture. Jessica is still at home but living in a dorm on campus. She wants the college experience. She's studying psychology. Cookie nodded, looking at me with interest. She made a soft sound. She got up from my lap and took my hand to lead me toward the hallway at the side of the room. Listen, I'll walk you out on your own. There are some rules, but don't worry about them right now. It's $20 for 1 dance or $50 for 3. The curtain stays closed. There's a security camera, but it doesn't record anything. Jerry will explain the rules to you, but you're different. I won't be dancing. She pointed to the man behind a small window. Once we were around the corner, she said, "Give him the money and the house will pay me. You can give him a little extra if you want. Once we're inside, don't think about that for now. We have more important things to talk about. This might take some time. Work? You need to share your story. Let it out. I'll listen to you. I want to remind you that you're a good person. Despite everything you've been through, any woman would be lucky to be with you. Then I'll do my best to help you feel better." She kissed my cheek lightly and stepped back, still holding my hands. "I'll go change for our little meeting. I'll be in room 3 in a few minutes. Go chat with Jerry." "You're Jerry, right?" I asked the man. "I want to pay $50 for 3 dances. Another 50 for 3 more, and so forth." He repeated this in a flat manner as if he had said it many times during the night without thinking. Do not harm or threaten the lady in any way. Do not use force or make threats of force under any circumstances. If anyone acts inappropriately, they will be asked to leave immediately, with no refunds. Do you understand these rules as I have explained them? Yes. I handed him the money. He seemed to relax a bit and spoke again, this time more like a friend. She signaled that you are one of her important cases. I'm sorry to hear that, but it happens. Today is your lucky day. She can really help you this time. And this time, only 3 songs mean you can stay until she says you're done. Congratulations. Room 3. I pulled back the curtain. It was smaller than a full room, but larger than a small cubicle. There was a strong chair fixed to the wall, leaning back a bit, with some handles on top. On a tiny nightstand was a pack of cleaning wipes. I like your tattoo. Does it mean something special? It's called the tree catcher or something like that. It's thousands of years old. It was first meant to represent earth, sea, and sky. It might also stand for life, death, and rebirth. It was used to show the 3 parts of the divine feminine, virgin, mother, and wise woman. And of course, some Christians use it to refer to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But to me, it means something different. And what does it mean? You'll have to guess. Don't waste your time on the first try. You only get 3 guesses, and you have to really know me to start guessing. I have many friends I've known for years who still haven't gotten it right. If you don't guess correctly, I'll never tell you, and you'll never know. No one has guessed right yet. She stood up, turned, took my hands, and sat me down. Relax. Take a few deep breaths and exhale slowly. She took off her wig. Or was it a wig? Just don't worry about it and let me guide you. You're okay, Dave. You're a good man. Tears filled my eyes without me meaning to. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not perfect, just like me and everyone else, but you're a good man. You're a good husband, a good father, a good son, and a good friend. I started crying again. Our breathing became uneven, mine filled with sobs. You don't deserve what happened. It's unfair and wrong. I'm really, really sorry. You're a good person. You deserve love. You should be treated better. I closed my eyes and pressed my chin against her shoulder as I struggled to hold back my tears. I hadn't cried this much since I was a little baby. I felt it all pouring out of me like a flood. She put her arms around me, showing me she was there for me. That's right. Let it out. Tell me your story, she said, and the words just came out. I wasn't in control. The story of Dave and Steph started telling itself through me. How we met in high school, our first dates, the wedding, the birth of our twins, buying our first house, dealing with bills and schedules, my job and hers, and then the arrival of Lee Davenport in her life, her strong interest in him, the breakdown and end of what I thought was a good marriage. When I finished speaking, I felt empty of words. The anger inside me felt like a pot bubbling over, and all I could do was cry. That's good. Thank you for sharing, Dave. You're doing really well. It's okay to feel all those emotions. You have every right to feel that way. I know it hurts right now, but I promise we'll get through this. We'll fix it, no matter how tough it seems. In the end, everything will be okay, even if it seems messy now. I can't promise you exactly how things will change or what your life will look like afterward, but things will improve. Do you understand? I mean it. I'm serious, Jim. I know you think this is just one night, one mistake, and that maybe you won't see me again after this. But that's not true. I'm not just going to overlook what you're feeling and move on. That's not how I am. I never give up in situations like this. I'll be with you till the end. I'm part of your life now, whatever it takes. Do you understand? I felt a chill rush through me, but then it passed. She knew I nodded slowly. Say it out loud. I'm with you. I'm with you, I replied. Can you hear me? Do you understand? I can hear you, I said softly. Good. Now just hold me like this. And I did. Time felt like it stopped. I felt awake yet lost in a dream. We could have stayed like that for minutes, hours, or even days. Do you still love her? My friend asked gently. Of course I do. I can't imagine life without her. True, but you're also unsure about how to be with her now. I don't even know how I can face her. Things will be different after tonight. You'll see her in a different light from now on. I know. It's like everything happened so quickly and now I feel lost. Everything feels out of your control. You thought you had things figured out, but now everything seems turned upside down. Pretty much, I agreed. The good news is that nothing has really changed. It's just your understanding of the situation that has shifted. That makes sense, but I still feel powerless. Exactly. That's why you feel helpless. It seems like your partner thinks she has all the power, and she's right to some extent. If you don't follow her plans, it may lead to trouble in your marriage. People might think it was your fault if things fall apart. Or maybe she'll just say that we grew apart and parted on good terms. And she's really lucky that Lee has been such a good friend to her, giving her support and companionship when she needed it. But she can't hide the truth. She lied and was unfaithful to him for years while they were married. But that doesn't matter anymore. Nothing she does is important now. She may think she's trapped you, but that's not true. The only thing that really matters is you. You have the power right now. She thinks you have no options. She knows your feelings are hurt, but she believes you'll move on. She thinks that if you forgive her, everything will go back to how it was. She knows it will be tough, but she's sure it will happen. She will apologize over and over. She might even say she'll let you go, but deep down, she thinks she can win you back. She has a backup plan, but she seems too sure of herself. You've never had to make a choice like this before. The truth is, you do have a choice. It's entirely up to you what to do. Stephanie needs to understand that she won't like your choices any more than you like hers. She is not in charge of this situation. You are. What should I do? I can see you want help, but the most important thing is for you to take charge of your own life. Take back the power. It doesn't matter what you decide as long as it's your choice. That's good advice. Thank you. There's one more thing you need to hear. Okay. Dave, I care about you. Look at me, Dave. She sat up, touched my face, and brought my eyes to hers. I care about you, Dave. I don't know how to respond. Listen, I care about you. I care about Mike, and Jessica, too. I even care about Jerry at the register and Jerome at the door. I care about Becky and Mary and Alana. Those aren't their real names, but I still care about them. I even care about Stephanie. And I care about you. You can care about many people. Don't be afraid to say it. Caring for others is a good thing. It's just love. It's a feeling, a connection. It's not a choice or a promise. It's not something you should be trapped by. You can care for someone without being in a romantic relationship with them. You can care for someone and still be apart from them. Some people are not good for you. You can care about them but still choose not to have them in your life. Do you care about Stephanie? Yes. Does that mean you're stuck with her, or that you have to tolerate her behavior? No. Does that mean you can't decide what to do about her? No. Do you care about me, Dave? You can say yes or no. You're not making any promises either way, and I can care about you without needing you to feel the same. I understand. Yes, I care about you, Cookie. Don't you feel free? You can care without limits, and you can still choose what you want to do, who you want to spend time with, and who you want to push away, even if you care about them. I understand. Good. Get ready to welcome more love into your life. Thanks. I really care about you, Dave. You deserve a kind of love that isn't hurtful. I suddenly started crying. I didn't know how to respond. So what will you do? I was still crying, but a part of me felt free. I'm going to make a decision. She kissed me. It was nice. It felt strong. It was what I needed to feel. I truly care about you. I'm proud of you. How do you feel? Honestly, I don't know. Sad, happy, scared, victorious, down, angry, all of these feelings, but also nothing, alive, whole. She rested her head against my chest again and listened to my tears for a little longer. After some time, I took a deep breath and she leaned back to get her wig. I think we're finished for now. But listen, this is just the start. I'll be with you every step of the way, okay? That's what I promised, and I mean it. Here. She handed me her ID and business card. This is my real name, my real address and job, my other job. Anyway, I want you to call or text me anytime, day or night. I might not reply right away, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We'll get through this together. Months, years, decades, it doesn't matter when, okay? Okay. I looked at the card. Dr. Cookie Duddridge, with a few letters after her name, was an assistant professor of psychology and sociology at the university. You teach at the college? 2 degrees. She shrugged. Do you know how little money there is in teaching? The pay is low and I have big student loans. Working here helps me pay the bills and more. It also gives me great chances to research. I've written 2 books about gentlemen's clubs. You're full of surprises. You have no idea. Your daughter might have been in my class. You said she's studying to be a psychologist. Ask her about me. It's better to know sooner rather than later. Then she looked me in the eye again. I'll be here for you in your life, helping you through all of this, if you let me. But I'm not your girlfriend, okay? I don't belong to anyone but myself. That's how it is. I care about you. I'm your friend, and I have my own life. That doesn't mean I can't show you kindness and help you feel confident, but that's all. I'm not in a romantic relationship. Not now. Not ever. I'm sorry. Next chapter. I didn't really sleep that night. I probably dozed on the couch for 2 or 3 hours. Around 4 in the morning, I woke up with the sun on Friday. I didn't feel any different from the night before. All my worries were still there. They just felt more painful instead of hitting me hard. Cookie had given me a lifeline of hope. All morning, I stayed at home without getting much done. Finally, I decided to go out. The hardware store was open on the holiday, so I bought a new set of locks, knobs, and deadbolts for the house. I could put them in myself. There were new keys, too. I made an extra one for Jessica and one for Mike. The last one was a spare. Steph wouldn't get a key. She could move in with her boyfriend instead. I called my daughter and asked her to join me for lunch. I usually don't call her on weekends because she is busy, but today she wanted to be closer to home than Mike's place. She could tell something was wrong from my voice and changed her plans to meet me. We decided to go to a pizza place that is popular in college towns. This place has been around for a long time, and you can smell the food from a block away. They really believe in garlic and melted cheese, and it gets crowded on game nights and weekends. The students know how to fight off hangovers with good food. At lunchtime, the place is quieter, which is nice. Most of the customers are older people like me, looking for a bit of happiness in memories. I had already found a table and ordered 2 Diet Cokes and a basket of bread. When Jessica entered, she smiled at me like sunshine, but her smile quickly faded when she saw my face. She hurried over to the table, looking a bit ashamed. She might have turned back if she thought I hadn't noticed her. "Dad, hi, what's wrong?" I just stared at her, unsure of where to begin. "Dad, you're scaring me. Can you please tell me what you know?" "What do you mean? What is going on?" I said. "Jessica, sometimes we have to talk about things we don't want to think about because they're scary." It was her turn to look surprised. I don't understand. What are you talking about? Can you start from the beginning?" "Do you know where your mom is?" I asked. "She's at a teachers' conference in New York, right?" That was the first she had heard of it. I handed her the papers Steph had written. Jessica gasped and read them, tears filling her eyes, while I ordered garlic knots and a 16-inch cheese pizza. I hadn't eaten since lunch the day before, and now I felt very hungry. When she finished reading, she looked at me and then started to cry. I didn't try to stop her. I didn't have the energy to comfort her. I didn't say that everything would be okay because I knew it wouldn't be. All I could do was nod and say, "Yeah, this is rough and it's not fair." My own tears fell onto the table, making a small puddle next to hers. I had already cried so much before, and now I felt empty. We sat in silence until the garlic knots came out of the oven. Fortunato truly makes them amazing. They looked like big cinnamon rolls covered in warm, rich butter with small bits of minced garlic, and you needed a whole head of garlic on your plate. I dove for them like a hungry man. Jessica didn't eat any. "What's wrong?" she asked, still out of breath. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know, honey." I stuffed more delicious Italian food into my mouth. "I just know what I'm not going to do." "And what's that?" "I'm not going to get a divorce and accept it." "You're getting a divorce?" "I don't see any other way, dear." I fumbled in my pocket and took out 2 small white envelopes. "I'm changing the locks this afternoon. Here are the new keys, one for you and one for your brother. Give it to him the next time he comes home. I don't want to mail the keys. Don't let your mother get a copy." "I'll tell her not to ask." She took the keys slowly, as if they might hurt her. "Have you talked to Mike yet?" I shook my head. "I wanted to tell both of you in person. You're here, so you go first. But you're right. It's not fair to keep him in the dark. We can call him now if you want." "I'll do it." She took out her phone and tapped the screen. When the call connected, she said, "Hey, little brother." Stephanie wouldn't share who was born first. They both insisted they were the older twin, so he called her little sister. It was really sweet. I hoped they'd always do that. "I'm here with Dad. Listen, something's come up. Do you know what we talked about last year?" There was silence. "You know?" More silence. "Oh." Then another pause. "No, I'm serious." Another pause. "He's here. I'll put it on speakerphone." "Okay." She set the phone down and tapped the screen. "Hey, Mike." "Dad, I don't know what to say. Is it true? Are you sure?" She left a note. "Jesse just read it a moment ago. Here, I'm sending it to you." I laid out the note, took pictures, and sent them in a message. While I was doing that, I asked, "So you guys talked about it?" Only to each other. "So, you knew?" "No, we didn't know. Not exactly. We were worried, that's all. You two have always been smart. To be honest, I was worried too. But I couldn't say anything without pointing fingers, without making it worse. That's how it was for us. We didn't know what was wrong. We thought maybe you had some kind of understanding. Maybe we didn't want to think about it too much. Well, just so you know, no. We never had any deal like that. It's just that your mom said I shouldn't be jealous or even hint that I didn't trust her. That was the hardest part. I was living a lie, driving myself crazy. I wasn't allowed to talk about it. It wasn't a lie." Jessie said I could only call her Jessie. To everyone else, even her mother, she was Jessica. "Mommy loves you. She really does." I know that for sure. It may not be a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. I heard Mike let out a big breath while reading the letter on his side of the phone. "No, probably not," Jessica admitted. "The pizza showed up. It was really good. They really knew how to make New York-style pizza, right?" I grabbed a slice, folded it just right, and almost ate it all in one go. After I was done, I asked more questions. Did the kids at your school talk about this too? They went to the same school where their mom worked. Was it a strange situation? Yeah, probably. But it would be even worse if everyone was whispering that their mom was with a strange music teacher. Jessica looked embarrassed. She didn't want to say much. Mike spoke up. Yes, Dad. I'm afraid that's what happened. No one knew the whole story. No one actually caught them in the act. There were just rumors, and that's all. The kids pointed fingers, laughed, and made silly drawings that went around. They weren't serious at all. Maybe it was all in how they acted with each other, how they looked at each other. Nothing for sure. Just silly kid stuff. I noticed that no one had named anyone yet. I said, but let's be honest here, okay? We're all talking about the same person, right? Go on. Say it out loud. I know who it is. Mike jumped in. Mr. Davenport. I nodded in agreement. Yeah. She always acted strange around him, and that guy always made me uncomfortable. I shivered. God only knows what she saw in that guy. Jessica looked at me with surprise. She wasn't used to hearing me swear like this. Well, I guess it was a new day for all of us. I never liked him either. Daddy. Well, keep disliking him, especially if he becomes your new stepfather. I'd be glad if you told him off every time you saw him. I'm not going to see him. She sat up straighter. I don't go to that school anymore. I'm mostly out of the house now. When school is out for a break, I'll stay at your place, not at her place. I'm an adult now. I can decide. Look, I don't want to cause trouble between you and your mom. She will always be your mom. But there's no rule that says I have to deal with her new boyfriend. She set her jaw firmly. It's my choice. He's a bad role model. He breaks up families. I don't want him around. Neither do I, Dad. He's always been a strange little jerk. Especially now. Well, before we all get upset, your mom might say I'm trying to turn you both against her. I don't do that. Not on purpose. I don't want you to think I am. All I want is for you to know the truth. You read the letter. You heard my feelings. That's all I have to say. They fell quiet. All right. I guess we're not finished. I sighed. Okay, listen. Here's what's going to happen next. Steph will come home and find out that the locks have been changed and her things have been put in storage. Mike Jesse has a new key for you. Maybe I'm being too dramatic. Maybe I'm being a bit petty. But right now I think she needs to hear this. I want her to understand that she should take me seriously when things calm down. I'll probably let her keep the house or buy me out. I don't think I want to stay there anymore. Nobody likes to be tricked, and that's what happened to me. My memories of that place will always be stained. Don't say that, Dad. It's true. She used the house against me to stay in control. My house? No. Our house felt like a threat if I said anything. I spent almost 2 years there, tying myself in knots, pretending everything was fine, even though I knew deep down it wasn't. Why would I want to keep living in a place like that? They didn't have much to say about it. I should get going. There's a lot on my plate. Oh, Jessica, did you take any classes with Professor Death? Does that name ring a bell? You mean the doctor that people say has a killer touch? She's kind of well known. Yes, she taught my psychology class last semester. There were 100 students in the lecture and about 7 or 8 grad students helping with discussions. I didn't get to know her well, but I'm excited to take her higher-level classes when I take the exams. Why do you ask? Well, this is where she surprised me. I met her by accident. She thought for a moment, and then her eyes lit up like a bright light guiding me. No, you haven't met her, have you? What? Mike asked, still on speakerphone. You went 2 to 2. Okay, Jesse, can we not talk about this right now? What's going on? Mike seemed to have lost connection. Mike, I'll call you back, Jesse said, tapping the screen to end the call. Dad, I can't believe you think what you want to think. I think Cookie doesn't hide the fact that she has another job. Are you joking? That's part of what makes her famous. Plus, all the guys on campus seem to fall for her. But she's not known to date anyone. People think she might be a lesbian. Maybe she is. I don't know. It's not our business. Of course not. But I can't believe my own dad would... All right, let's stop there. You admire this woman and look forward to her classes. And you know she works in a different field, so that's not something to be ashamed of, right? It's about empowerment these days. So why are you so shocked that I met her there? Because you're my dad. Well, I'm not very comfortable talking about it with my daughter either. I told you 15 minutes ago that your mother was unfaithful to me for years, And now I'm the bad guy because I had nowhere to go and no one to talk to when I found out. So I did things my own way. Maybe you'd be fine if I got really drunk or hurt myself. Don't say that. Why not? Those are the choices your mother left me. I'm sorry I'm acting this way, but I won't just sit at home and feel sorry for myself until she comes back and tries to get me to talk to her. She wouldn't do that. Jessie shook her head. No. Yes. Yes, she would. That's what she wants, right? Yes, clearly. And that will never happen, will it? No, no way. And I'm talking to Professor Dandridge right now? Yes, maybe she can help. Jessie sat up straight. I can't believe I'm discussing this with my dad. And I can't believe I'm having this talk with my daughter. We're in new territory, aren't we? I think so. Will you be okay eventually? But not anytime soon. I looked at the pizza. I had eaten 4 of the 6 slices and hardly remembered it. Do you want the rest? No, thanks. Take it home. You seem to enjoy it, and I'm not hungry anymore. The phone rang. It was Mike. I answered it. I'm still here with Jessica. I put him on speakerphone. So, what was that about? I'm just finishing up with Jessie. She's here. I'll explain, or she can. I know you two are close, and she probably can tell you better than I can. I don't want to be left alone, Dad. That's fair. I met one of her professors. I heard about that. Dudridge, Diedrich, and your sister somehow found out where I met her. Where was that? The Diamond Lounge. I don't know that place. Where is it? I stayed quiet. Dad, where is this place? What the... He paused for a moment. Oh, I see. What were you doing there? I was trying to do something out of character. I just found out my wife, who I've been with for 22 years, is seeing someone else and plans to keep doing it. I needed to confront her somehow. Well, okay, I can understand that. Yes, that would upset her. So what was Jessica's professor doing there? Working on stage. Believe it or not, she's young, fit, and very pretty. Jessica said she teaches fitness classes in the gym on campus. She's open about sometimes working as a dancer. It gives her some respect, or at least attention. But where she works and when isn't really known. She raised an eyebrow at me. The Diamond Lounge? That info might be worth something in campus gossip. Well, I'd like to see it too, Mike said. Maybe next time I'm home, Dad. We'll have a guys' night out, okay? I don't like this conversation anymore. Did you get a dance, Michael? Did you? Yeah, Dad. Did you? Jessica thought that was funny. You're no better than he is. Answer the question. Fine. Yes. I had a dance. I even get to guess what her tattoo means. Wow. Mike said she has a tattoo. Jessica asked, What is it? Where is it? Get a dance and you'll find out, he joked. No way. I'll just talk to Dad until you tell me. It'll be cheaper and more fun. Mike said, Honestly, Dad, I can't think of anything that would upset Mom more than that. How about if I had a long and deep love affair right under her nose for years and made her think she was losing her mind? Oh, you're right. That's worse. Thanks, Jessica said as she got up from the table. I have a paper to write, and I need to think. Dad, call me tomorrow to let me know how you are. Maybe we can go out to dinner? Actually, yes. I could use your help moving some of your mother's things into storage. Can you come by this afternoon? She looked a bit sad, but she nodded. Yeah, okay. I'll be there around 3. I love you, I said. I love you too, Dad. Don't feel lonely tonight, okay? I'll be busy. I have a lot to do. Okay, I love you, she replied as she left, and I turned off the speakerphone. Seriously, Dad, you can tell me now Jessica is gone. Was she attractive? Very, Mike said. Thanks for talking. I love you, son. I love you too, Dad. Try not to do anything strange tonight. Call me when you can. I will. Bye. I ended the call, finished paying the check, and decided to take a walk. Walking was nice, and the campus bookstore was nearby. I went inside and looked for the faculty publications section. Sure enough, they had books written by Cookie, both published by the university press. I bought both. On my way home, I stopped at the liquor store to grab some empty cardboard boxes. The banks were closed for the holiday, but I did what I could online. I called a storage place and set up a locker for delivery the next day. Once I got home, I used a screwdriver to install new knobs and deadbolts, and I reset the code for the garage door opener. I looked up instructions online and went outside with a flashlight to reset the settings. It was tricky, but not too hard. After I finished, I called Cookie. Hey, Dave, how was Friday? She asked. So far, so good. I changed the locks and told the kids. What did you tell them? Nothing but the truth. I let them read the letter from Steph. It's in her handwriting, and they know it's real. I told them I'm going to get a divorce. And you decided that unless Stephanie can fix what she did, then yes. Good. Well, that's a strong decision. Just be careful not to speak badly about your ex-wife. I think choosing kindness is the right path. If you start talking against her or trying to turn your kids against her, things could get worse for everyone, especially for you. I realize I let Stephanie reveal her own mistakes with her words. Just so you know, they figured out it was Lee Davenport right away. They weren't shocked. It seems the boys at her school had been talking about it for a while. That makes sense. People who stray often aren't as clever as they believe. It's no surprise that rumors spread. It's nice to know my doubts weren't just mine. By the way, Jessica taught your psychology class last semester. She really liked you and can't wait to take your classes as a senior. That's reassuring. I thought she was going to take that course sometime. Almost the entire school is signing up for it. We had a good talk. She's coming over tomorrow afternoon to help me pack some of her mom's things. That's very kind of her. Do you need any help with that? I could have done it alone, but it would have taken longer and felt more tiring. Dave, I wasn't talking about Jessica. I was offering to come over and help you. Really? Why? Because that's what I want to do. You need to see, Dave, that you are a good person. I like you, and you deserve love and care. I want to show you that. Can I come over tomorrow to help you and meet your daughter in a friendly way? Oh, wow. Yes, I mean, this is more than I expected. In a good way, I hope? Yes, absolutely. Good to hear. Can I ask you something? Sure, ask away. I might not answer, but go ahead. Why are you doing this? Why me? She took a moment before replying. Because everyone needs some care in their life at some point. Now it's your turn. To be honest, it's also because no one did that for me when I needed it. You're quite the helper. To some extent, yes. Is that why they call you Dr. Heartbreaker? She laughed. Is that still a title? I always liked it. It makes my work feel important. According to Jessica, you seem to leave a path of broken hearts behind you. You're really flattering me. You earn your living as a charmer. True, but not all the time. When should I come over? Jessica said she'd be there around 3. Great. Text me your address and I'll be there. Oh, and Dave, I care about you. She ended the call. Next chapter. I finished the last 2 slices of pizza for dinner and had a beer. I thought about making the next call. I knew I would do it, but I was still restless. I decided to stop thinking and just go for it. I dialed the number of Hal Rambo, the principal of the school where Stephanie went. David, good evening. Good evening, Hal. Sorry to bother you. I hope you and Laura are having a great weekend. I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Oh, sure. What's up? Is there a teachers' meeting this weekend? No, not that I know of. Why do you ask? Stephanie told our daughter she would be at that meeting. Do you know where Stephanie is right now? I thought she would be with you. No, she isn't. I have one more question. Do you know where Leah Davenport is? Hal fell silent. He could feel the tension in the air. What do you mean, Dave? I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just asking. If you don't know, then you don't know. I'm sorry to disturb your evening. Please say hello to Laura for me. Dave, wait. Are you sure? I honestly don't know anything for certain. I don't have any proof. All I know is my wife isn't home. She left a note saying she would be away, but she didn't tell me where or who she is with. She told the kids a very different story. Maybe it's nothing serious. I'm not asking you to do anything. It would probably be better for everyone if Stephanie kept her job. She would feel proud. The school would avoid trouble and I wouldn't owe as much money. All I'm saying is that you are not a fool. You deserve better than this. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything, Hal. You're a good person and always have been a friend to me. Oh, thank you for saying that. Sorry again for bothering you on your weekend. Have a nice evening. Good night. Good night, and please look after yourself, okay? I will. Good night. Good night. Next chapter. After the last 2 days, I felt so drained that I fell asleep earlier than I planned. I started reading Cookie's second book and pulled out my laptop to look for divorce lawyers, making several appointments online. The first free one was set for the end of the next week. I opened a new bank account in my name so I could put money in on Monday. I also read a lot of free advice online, which was mixed and probably not very useful. There's much about scams and cheating online. Lunch was memorable. The moving truck arrived at 12:30, and I had many boxes and packing tape ready. The first person to arrive was Cookie, looking like a normal person, but still very pretty. "It's the false eyelashes," she said with a smile, as if she could read my thoughts. "They change my whole look. It's like being Clark Kent." "Which one of you is Superman?" "Both of us," she said playfully. "But you called me a crusader. I even have a cape, so I'm more like Batman." She scrunched her nose in a cute way. "But both my parents are alive, and I'm not rich, so that part doesn't fit. You have cool gadgets and a secret hideout." "You bet I do." "Then you're Batman. Or maybe Batgirl." "Please." Yvonne Craig was taller than me, and she had way better legs. "Not at all. Flatterer for you always. You don't have to compliment me, Dave." She looked deep into my eyes. "You don't need to prove anything to me. Maybe it's because you care about me." She smiled. "But I still have a lot to show myself, and I don't know where to begin. You're doing well so far. Just support whatever you decide. Focus on your strengths and stay true to yourself. That way, you'll be okay." "That sounds like good advice." "Thanks. It has always helped me. Jessica will arrive soon, just so you know." "Oh, and she figured out how we met almost right away." "I didn't tell her. She just knew. I couldn't deny it." "I'm sorry." "For what?" "Well, isn't it embarrassing?" She turned and stared at me, still as a statue. She looked down at me slowly. Time felt frozen. I noticed every blade of grass, every leaf on the trees, and could hear my heartbeat in my ears. She stood on my doorstep. We hadn't gone inside yet. After what felt like ages, she finally spoke softly but firmly. "Have you ever watched Game of Thrones?" "No, forget it. There's a character named Tyrion Lannister who says something wise. He's speaking to a nobleman's son who isn't born into privilege. Tyrion himself is smaller than others, and people often remind him of it. These two characters have their own struggles, and Tyrion tells Jon Snow, 'Never forget who you are. The world won't wear it as protection, and they can't hurt you.' I took that to heart when I read those books a long time ago, although Tyrion in that story doesn't get as much pity. You just asked me if people would be embarrassed if they knew I was not only a teacher but also a performer. The answer is not just no, but absolutely no. I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of my work. It gives me strength. I don't just protect myself. I use it as a weapon. I'm known everywhere on this campus. You understand what I mean? People talk. Of course. That's their issue, not mine. Their hurtful words, the rumors, the attempts to insult. It all shows their weaknesses, not mine. If someone tries to harm me like that, I can stand strong. Now think about how you can use this advice for your life. Your wife has not valued you for 2 years, treating you poorly. And now she wants something she shouldn't ask for. And you're not going to give it to her. It's not your shame, it's hers. It's not your problem. It's her mistake. It happened to you. You couldn't stop it. But you can hold your head high like a shield. The world will not forget who you are. You've been wronged. This can be your strength. Use it. Thank you. I understand. Please say that again. I got it. One more time. I understand. This is mine. My life is mine. It's my choice. Good. She pulled me close and gave me a kiss like she was sealing an agreement. Then she leaned in and whispered a little secret in my ear. Well, it's not really a secret. It's very old. It's as old as time itself. If you say something 3 times, it becomes real. It's like a small ritual or magic. Simple, but very powerful. Oh, like Beetlejuice. 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 Exactly. But it's more about calling something than binding it. Be careful when you say things like that. You never know what might happen. She looked at me as if she was half serious. Ahem. Jessica stood 10 feet away from us. We hadn't heard her car. We were still hugging. Gotcha. I went stiff. Cookie was the first to respond. She seemed totally calm, even relaxed. Hello? You must be Jessica. Dave told me you were in my class last semester. I remember you now, Jessica Jameson. That's right. It's nice to see you again. How are you finding this semester? You just kissed my dad. Yeah, he's a good kisser. Is that okay? You tell me. We just learned that your father has been in an open marriage for years. His wife didn't inform him until now. She is away with her lover in a place we don't know. This good man is now officially apart from her. You and I are here to help move her things out of the house. I guess he can kiss whoever he wants now. Still, it's a bit of a shock. I'm sure it is. And I know it's the latest in a few surprises. I'm sorry about that. It might not be the last one. I hope it doesn't shock you to find out your dad has strength. No. Good. Dad. You didn't say anything. Cookies. A good kiss or two. Papa? Well, yes, I don't want to hear it. Even as she reacted, she walked away. I did too. At one point, we were all laughing. Cookie, let me go. We went into the house to start the hard work of sorting out my life. Mama Jessie went into our bedroom to look through my mother's clothes and things. I went to the kitchen to sort through the utensils. She had all kinds of tools and gadgets, most of which were hardly ever used. I had no idea what they were for. We still had the original boxes in the attic, so I could pack everything up well. Then there was the wedding china and her grandmother's special sets. Cookie became the queen of cardboard, packing tape, and bubble wrap. Wedding albums, diplomas, books, and all the stuff from her home office. You never realize how much stuff you have until it's time to pack and move. At one moment, I showed Cookie the letter Stephanie had left behind. She read it like she had done this many times before. When everything was done, I got the usual treat for movers. Takeout food and lots of it. Sandwiches, wings, wedges, and 6 bottles of beer. Yes, Jessica was 19, not 21, but I knew the truth. We weren't drinking to get drunk. We had worked hard for hours, and there was still a lot more to do. Jessie, looking a bit nervous but wanting to ask, finally asked, "Are you two kind of together now?" I flinched. Cookie smiled and said, "We're together, but not in that way. We've only known each other for 2 days. Your dad isn't ready for a new relationship, and I'm not into romance. So no, it's not like that. We're just friends, really good friends, and I'm happy to be here for him. Dave is a good man, a strong man, and I care about him." Jessie's eyes went wide at that, but Cookie kept talking. "He needs support right now. When times get tough, that's when we lean on the ones we can trust. That's when you see who your true friends are. Sadly, there often aren't as many as we think. So here's the deal. I'm here for him because he deserves it. I'm proud to be the one to help him." Jessie nodded, taking in Cookie's words. "Wow, okay. Thank you from both of us. I'm really glad you're here with us." She looked at me with a teasing glance. "Oh no, don't say that, Jessie. Don't tease like that. Are you two, you know?" "Jessie," Cookie jumped in. "Not yet. We'll see how things go." She smiled as she looked at my worried face. "I'm sure it'll be good. But even if it is, we won't really be a couple. That's the main hurdle. Dave doesn't seem like the kind of guy for casual relationships, but I'm here for him." Both women laughed. "Oh, me too," Jessie said. "Seriously, why don't you want to date anyone? Half the campus wants a chance with you, and the other half wishes they had the courage to try. Don't you get lonely?" "Sometimes," Cookie admitted after thinking a bit. "But I have friends. I never really need a partner. If I want someone who cares, I know where to find them. But I choose to be on my own for specific reasons." She turned to us, her finger pointing to a small mark just below my collarbone. I hadn't noticed it before, but it was a little scar. "It's a scar. A bullet hole." We both jumped back. "My last boyfriend shot me." "Oh my God," Jessie whispered. "What happened?" "That's a story for another time. Let's just say that I've learned that betrayal can happen. I decided a long time ago that I don't want to date anymore. David is a kind and caring man. He is smart and thoughtful. I believe he will make a special someone very happy when he finds true love. But that lucky woman won't be me. I'm done with all of this." After we finished our sandwiches and drinks, we worked for a while. A few hours later, Jessica mentioned she wanted to wrap things up. We got a lot done, but we still had more to finish. "I don't think I'm going home. I don't want to leave you alone tonight, Dad. I will stay here in my room." Cookie said this was surprising to me, and I guess it showed on my face. Then Jessie said, "If that's the case, I'm going back to the dorm. I can't handle being here any other way." The two women hugged. Jessie whispered something, probably telling Cookie not to hurt me. Cookie promised she wouldn't. They parted, and my daughter gave me a surprised look. Then she hugged me goodbye and softly said, "I love you, Dad," as she walked away. I was surprised to find myself holding hands with Cookie. She smiled and led me into the bedroom. "I mean what I said earlier, Dave," she said. "I care about you. You can care about me too if you want. But don't think of me as a replacement for Stephanie. This isn't a new romance. Just accept it for what it is." "What is it?" I asked. "You were right. I've never had casual flings before. I'm new at this," she replied. She took off her shirt again. I took off mine and moved closer to her. She smiled and said, You're shaking." She was right. I was nervous. "Relax. There's no rush," she told me. "I know you might feel fragile right now. There's no shame in that." She wrapped her arms around me. "Nothing will happen that you're not ready for. Nothing you don't want." I thought about how long it had been since I touched another woman, over 20 years. I felt her warmth against my skin, and I liked it. "I have an idea," I said, and pulled her toward the edge of the bed. "Tell me your story." She stiffened and was quiet. "You don't understand what you're asking," she said. "Yes, I do," I replied. "You seem to have built up a lot of walls." "You can love whoever you want," she said. "But real closeness is harder. It's the part that feels the pain of betrayal. I'm still healing, but I think you haven't faced your challenges in the same way I have. I doubt either of us will fully get past them." "And telling you my story might help?" I asked. "You rarely share yours, I bet. If you want to help me, let me help you. Let me share something with you that I hope will bring us closer and help us both. It's hard to admit, but I feel like I'm the one who should know better. So, what do you think? Am I on the right track?" "Yes, sadly you are." She trembled a bit. "Just listen to me. Please don't interrupt while I talk, and try not to judge. Some things I say might be hard to hear, but you won't. I have a feeling you might not want to see me again after I say this. I hope that's not the case. I really like you, Dave. I want you to heal from your pain. I want to help you. If you need to end our friendship after I speak, I will feel like I've failed you." "Shh. It's all right. I wanted to open up for you. It would mean so much to me if you understood. If only it were simple. It's really tough. I know it must be bad. You have this feeling of love. No, I have a lot of love, but I'm done with dating. Love is just a feeling. The hard part is figuring out what to do with it." I nodded. She could sense my understanding. "You mentioned that just 2 days ago." "Well, I trust you, friend. Trust is really important, isn't it? Love doesn't break easily, but trust can. Once it's broken, it's hard to fix it again." "Yes, I know that pain. I've had trust thrown in my face before. I didn't respond." What could I say then? "Okay," she said as we relaxed together. Her breathing matched mine. Then she breathed out. His name was Justin. He was a nice-looking guy, short but slim, with light skin and long, dark hair and blue eyes that truly captivated me. I fell for him hard. I felt deep in my soul that he was meant for me. From the first moment we met, there was a spark. It felt like everything clicked into place. We didn't need to say much. We were just a couple who shared a strong bond. I must admit I wasn't new to relationships. At 25 years old, I was single and enjoyed my life. I'd had my share of partners, some would say more than enough. I had all types of experiences. I even dated a few girls but realized it wasn't for me. Honestly, I didn't have a specific type. I cared more about who someone was inside. I liked people with depth. Justin was full of surprises, and maybe that's what drew me to him. He lit up the room when he was there. He had a special charm. But he was also very shy and kept to himself. He was really sure of himself in some areas, but uncertain in others. He knew how to attract people, but never felt secure enough to keep them around. He had talent, but often lost focus. I know it sounds cliché, but yes, he was a musician. I know. Every girl dreams of the classic bad boy, right? He wasn't just another geek with a guitar and a dream of a band. He was incredibly talented. If you handed him an instrument, he would play it for a little while and create something beautiful. There wasn't a string he couldn't pull to make you feel deep emotions. He could play any keyboard. He had a way of making his fingers dance over the keys that brought joy to everyone who listened. There wasn't a surface he couldn't tap that wouldn't make your feet want to move and your head nod along to the rhythm. He could bring feelings to life with his music. And his voice? It flowed like the waves of the sea. No listener, man, woman, or child, could ignore its power. His voice was timeless. He was part of a band called the Armless Bipeds. But there was a lot of tension and drama among them. He had real talent, but he was also the least organized of the group. The others worked hard, were dedicated, and could play well. But they were the steady ones, and he was the wild star. You know how that goes. He was the lively, bold frontman, full of energy, while the others managed things behind the scenes. Bobby played the keyboard and bass, and he was also their manager. He took care of all their shows and made all the arrangements. The band was about to sign a big deal. All the papers were ready. The only thing left was to convince Justin, but he didn't want to do it. He had been avoiding it for months. It was really frustrating. Justin kept saying he had to go to rehab, or he had a project, or he just didn't feel like dealing with it. He would go missing for days or even weeks. His need for creativity was demanding, and no one understood that. Eventually, the money people got tired of waiting for Justin to figure things out. They were willing to take a chance on another band that everyone was buzzing about, and they finally decided to walk away just as Justin was telling the others to step back because they were holding him back. The band broke up for good, and Justin felt free. They had been together for almost 3 years, which is a long time when you're young. I always supported him, no matter what he chose. If he wanted to stay with Bobby and the others, sign the contract, record an album, and go on tour, that was fine with me. If he wanted to start a new band or go solo, that was fine too. If he wanted to travel far away and learn a special kind of singing, I would support him in that as well. I would have lived anywhere with him, even in a simple place under a bridge, as long as I was with him. My life felt complete with him. Unfortunately, Justin took his newfound freedom too far. He didn't just leave the band, he decided to change his whole life, which meant leaving me behind. Now tell me, Jim, have you ever heard a song called Ohio Shores? I can't say I know much about it. It's an old song from the Appalachian Mountains. It's very sad. A man loves his woman so deeply that he can't stand the idea of losing her. For some reason, he asks her to marry him, but she says no. In his anger, he takes her life. This way, she will always belong to him and no one else. That same year, a band called Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds released a similar song, Where the Wild Roses Grow, with Kylie Minogue. There is even a whole style of music dedicated to stories like this. They call them murder ballads. That's the name of their album, too. Wow. Yes, my troubled, sad artist got this idea in his head. He thought taking his own life was the answer. He didn't just want to leave me. He wanted to erase me from anyone's life. So he chose to end it. He pulled out a gun he had. It was a cheap gun he called the Raven. He must have liked it because he used it when he got home. I was working on my second thesis, as I often did. When I stood up to kiss him, he shot me twice. At first, I didn't understand what happened. I didn't feel the pain at first. I was just confused by the loud sound. He coughed. I wondered what kind of weapon makes a sound like that without a big bang. Then I started to feel weak. I ended up with a big scar between my shoulder blades, but I covered it with a tattoo. So yes and no. That's why I got the tattoo, but that's not its main meaning. I could have picked any design. I wanted to hide the scar. Other options might have worked better than a simple cover. So I won't assume you know what it means since you haven't said anything yet. That's just why it's there. Don't waste your guesses, not even now. The other bullet just grazed my head, as you saw. I was lucky. Either shot could have been deadly if it had hit differently. I don't think Justin had ever shot a gun before. He seemed unsure of what to do, just like he was in everything else except music. But I understood his intention. Everything faded to black and white, cold and empty. I felt something inside me awaken. I understood it was fight or flight. It was either him or me. Some old instinct took over, the same one that helped our ancestors avoid danger. I grabbed Justin by the throat. I gasped for breath and shouted. He was no longer the man I loved. He had become a threat. It was either my life or his. I even forgot about the gun. At some point, he fired again, but he missed, and I didn't even notice. I pushed myself on my elbows just enough to stop his wrist from aiming at me. That wasn't my main goal, though. I just needed a better position to defend myself. It turned out I was stronger than I looked. I squeezed his throat, and I could see him struggling to breathe. His face turned blue and his eyes bulged. I didn't see it coming. I held on to him tightly, using all my strength to fight back, even after he fell, even after it was all over. That's how they found me. I was barely awake, hurt and struggling to breathe. My hands were still around his neck. It took 2 paramedics to pull me away. I didn't know then that he had started seeing another woman, and this wasn't the first time. I had forgiven him before for similar things. He had made her wait outside in my car while they planned to leave together. He told her he was going to get rid of me so they could go away together. She had already packed her things, and he had emptied my bank account. Not that there was much money there anyway. I was a grad student, and we didn't own much, just clothes, books, and his tools. She went upstairs because she thought he was taking too long. What if he changed his mind? She found us on the floor and then she panicked and called the police. The strange part is she saved my life. If Justin hadn't cheated with her, I might not have survived. She claimed she had no idea he would try to harm me. She thought he would just leave me and hurt my feelings a bit. They didn't charge her because she was the one who called for help. They thought about charging me with a serious crime. They thought maybe I had acted in anger when he broke up with me, cheated on me, and took my car and money. Maybe he had acted in self-defense. But in the end, they learned I didn't know anything until I woke up. Justin had a bad reputation. He had no job, no home, and was known for petty crimes. Most people who met him quickly saw what he was really like. He was already in trouble with drugs and wasn't allowed to have a gun. He had gotten it illegally, and it was clear he wanted to harm me. At that moment, the district attorney didn't believe a story that painted Justin as the victim would hold up in court. They decided I acted in self-defense and did not charge me. And that, Dave, is how I went from sitting quietly with my books to taking the life of the man I loved in just 3 seconds. I felt her tears on my chest. I didn't hear them in her voice. I looked at her differently. She seemed much older and stronger than she had just moments before. No longer just a pretty girl with a big brain and a bold personality. She was a woman who had been tested and had come through it all. A battle-tested warrior. There was so much more to her than I had ever imagined. Looking into her eyes was like looking deep into the ocean. Somewhere in that depth was a hurt person who might never feel whole again. I felt like a monster. I felt like someone who had taken a life. If I had to, I would do it again. If you hadn't done what you did, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I know you did what you had to for survival. I get that, but I still can't feel good about it. I tried to let it go for a moment, but I just can't. I would be okay with it for you if you let me. Next chapter. Good morning, she said. I hadn't seen that she was awake. Good morning. Thanks, Dave. You were right. That was just what I needed. I rarely tell that story. So, you really don't think I'm a horrible monster? No, of course not. Even if you were a monster, which you're not, you'd be the Cookie Monster. And he's not horrible, he's great. She laughed deeply. He's my favorite Muppet. Since I was little, he always felt like a friend. I felt connected to him, partly because of our name, but also because he just enjoys life. No guilt, no shame. He's just himself, always happy and at peace. No ego, no big dreams. Just living for the moment and enjoying his desires. She stared off into space. You could say Cookie Monster is my guide. I was trying to be nice and not too serious. She looked at me again. Why can't it be both? You can tell a simple joke and still share strong feelings, you know. But you're right. We don't need to make everything more complicated than it needs to be. I'm afraid this might truly end my marriage. Taking her things, changing our bank accounts, it all feels like busy work. It's nothing that can't be changed back. I'm scared that I'll become as bad as she is if I let this happen. I don't want to give her a reason to feel good about what she did. Okay, good. Now that you've said it out loud, how do you feel? Are you right about anything? No, none of it is true. Would Stephanie be upset if you had your own plans while she enjoys a vacation with her boyfriend, who she's been secretly seeing for years? No, definitely not. Good. What else? Oh man, I don't even know where to start. Why are you asking me this? I already told you. I know, and I thank you for it, I really do. Yep, that's it. You don't need my help. You don't need sympathy. I never said that. No, but I guess it was in your thoughts. Okay, you're wrong about that too. Look at me. Yeah, no, really look at me. Look into my eyes. We locked eyes. Time seemed to blend together, connecting the past, present, and future in a beautiful way. Light sparkled in her eyes, reflecting many emotions. Does this look like charity? Does this look like pity? No. Good, because it's not. It's a wish. It's appreciation. It's respect. I love you, Dave. Let me do this for you. Let me handle this because I want to. Let me take charge as it's the right thing to do at this moment. Did I say that? Good. She stared at me again. Next part. I gave Cookie a light breakfast of coffee and toast. She went about her day, asking me to call her later to plan Stephanie's return. I spent a few hours packing. I found out my new bank accounts were open, so I moved some money into them and set up payments. Mostly I was just keeping busy, avoiding the bigger questions. Why? Why did Stephanie do this? What do I want? What do I need? What am I ready to forgive? What can I accept? What will my life be like 1 year from now? 5 years? 10 years? Am I ever going to marry again? Why not? What's going on with Cookie? What will my relationships with women be like in the future? Did my wife ever respect me, or has she just changed over time? Will everything be okay for me? This time, I didn't feel angry. I felt oddly calm. I felt like I had a choice. What Stephanie wanted didn't matter much anymore, and it surprised me how little I cared. In the afternoon, I got a call from Jessie. I was running out of time and lost in thought. She wanted to take me out for sushi. It felt strange. I'd never tried sushi, and neither had she. But here we were together, and I was her dad. Why sushi? I asked. When we got to Ichiban, she was already sitting at the bar. I wanted to shake things up. What did you say? I'm trying to change my usual ways. I found out my mom isn't who I thought she was. My dad is having a tough time, and he seems different. It's a whole new world. I think we all need to change our routines. Oh, well. Good point. Thank you. Domo arigato. We walked to our table. It was 2 seats at a long table we shared with others, but there was plenty of space between us. The menus were long sheets of paper, and we stared at them for a while, hoping to make a good choice. I didn't want anything with eel, which made our choices fewer. Jessica didn't like shrimp, so that made it even less. I knew I liked miso soup and salad with ginger dressing. However, when we ordered, Jess said something about cookie that sounded odd. I sighed. I've never liked people who say it's complicated. It's just an excuse. It's never complicated. You either do the right thing or you don't. But now I see why people say it. It's still an excuse, but it's easy to say. Easiest? What's the right thing to say? Well, I don't know. It's on my mind, but that doesn't help much. The best thing to do is to face the problem and speak up. Oh man, I'm really worn out. My heart is broken. Everything feels like it's fallen apart and I'm lost. I met a very interesting woman when I was feeling my lowest. For some reason, she wants to help me. She's lovely, and I feel a strong connection to her. But deep down, I know I'm not ready for a relationship. We all can see that. She also seems to believe we shouldn't be getting involved right now. But yes, I've been through a lot. I won't pretend we were just friends. We didn't take it too far, but we were close. I can't say it didn't matter because it did, but as I see it, we're not really a couple. It feels like a step forward or maybe a rebound. I have to say, it's all very odd to me. She nodded. I don't want you to get hurt in this. I mean, not more than you already are because of everything else. She frowned. It does seem to fit that way, doesn't it? Sort of. But it feels a bit off. You've been listening to her. She values honesty a lot. She talks about it in class all the time. I think she's helping me. I think so too. She's a kind person and quite popular at school. But remember, Dr. Heartbreaker, I don't think we should focus too much on her. She's right about you. You're not one to make mistakes like that. You never. She didn't finish? No, never. I never. Whatever you're thinking, I never did that. She smiled sadly. I wanted to ask if you ever cheated on Mom, but I couldn't even say it. It's hard to believe what Mom did. No, just to be clear, I never cheated on your mom. I would never do that. I won't act like I'm perfect. There are many beautiful women in the world. I notice them, and I sometimes have stray thoughts. But nothing happened for real. I wouldn't, or couldn't. She looked disappointed. But it seems like you did, a bit. I spent time with a kind lady while your mom was with someone else, making a joke of our marriage and acting like I should just accept it. Our marriage ended the moment she started dating him. I was just the last one to find out, so it's really over. Yeah, I think so. I've been asking myself hard questions all day, and I don't like any of the answers. I shook my head and blinked slowly. Okay, you're not just going to share everything with me that easily? Just stay with me for a moment? Remember that used car? She fell in love with that Mustang and bought it without really checking it. I warned her about it, but she wouldn't listen. Well, one of the catalytic converters was illegally removed. The other one got clogged and blew a hole in the exhaust system. The engine area caught fire while she was driving on the highway. You two were in the back seat. That's how it happened. I only remember bits and pieces. I never noticed anything wrong with the car. I should have been more careful. And that living room set we bought with the purple fabric? It was terrible. But my feelings didn't matter much. I always thought it was unique. Well, I don't need it anymore. You can have it when we split things up. Her family never liked me. They tried to be nice and polite, but they really didn't like me, especially her mother. They thought I didn't truly care about Jesus. You'd think that would make them like me more, right? But they listened to their favorite TV preachers, not Jesus. They cared more about hating people like me than helping others. Over 22 years, we had a lot of fights. Every fight was about me disagreeing with what she wanted. In the end, she always got her way. I often felt pushed aside, even if I ended up being right. No, especially if I was right. She had to be the winner every time. I can't shake the feeling that it was my fault for letting her get the best of me all these years. She wanted to test me. Well, she did. Then the sushi came. We tried it carefully and started eating. It was better than I thought. I couldn't use chopsticks, so I ended up using my fingers. Judge me all you want. It wasn't all bad. We had some good years together, and you two came from that. I wouldn't change it for anything. I would do it all again, no matter how I feel now. If it meant I'd be here with you today. Oh, Daddy, that's so sweet. I love you. I love you too. You and your brother mean everything to me. We had some sushi. The ones with the green topping were spicy. Jessie said Cookie doesn't work at the Diamond Club anymore. She's either somewhere else or on vacation. Really? How did you find that out? The kids from school went looking for her. Yeah, but they said no one named Cookie works there. Well, she doesn't use her real name when she's on stage. All the girls pick stage names. Last Thursday, she was named Candy, and the guy inside called her that. That makes sense. I wonder if they all start with an S. Charlotte, Chloe, Chantel, Carol, Cheryl, Cynthia, Christine, Chiffon, Charlene. I reached a dead end with names. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, like in the movie Cha-cha-cha di Gregorio, the best dancer at St. Bernadette's but with a bad reputation. I never understood how you remember stuff from old movies. Hey, it's not an old movie, it's not Casablanca, it's just 25 years older than me. All right, I get that it seems old to you. How old were you when it came out? I'm not sure, I was a kid, maybe 7. So you kind of got attached to it like a baby duck? Everyone did. It was a big deal. I guess it was, but you know you're still a bit odd, right? She was right. I have a strange memory, but it is very detailed. I can remember almost everything about books, movies, and songs from years ago. But I can't recall what I had for lunch last week, who all my cousins are, or when I have to see the doctor. But when it comes to stories or popular culture, I remember a lot. We spent the rest of lunch talking about safe things, carefully avoiding Stephanie and Cookie. It was just what I needed. I think my little girl needed it too. She needed to see me stay strong. At some point, we called Michael because, of course, we did. He sensed our mood and put on a show, being his usual funny and outgoing self. Later that evening, as promised, I called Cookie. So, sushi is a thing. Sushi? Yes, people like it. Why do you say that? Jessie asked me over for some. I guess we're all trying to shake things up. We've been stuck in our routines. Well, that's a good choice. Where did you go to eat? On American Boulevard. Okay, next time, I'll take you to Kabuki. They have some really tasty food. Yes. So, have you thought about how tomorrow will go? I haven't thought about much else. I've been feeling down and thinking too much. I've been focused on the strange woman who has taken an interest in me, and it's been nice. Thanks a lot, kind sir. I promise you she's not finished with you yet. Well, I hope she isn't. I'm in a tough spot. I have a long way to go. I can wait, but we have a good start now. Tomorrow? Yes. She surprised me with that note, and I was left alone to handle what she started. I think she should feel the same way. She'll find an empty house, and I'll leave her a note just like hers. I won't talk to her either. Let her think things over while I take my time. It'll be fair. Is that what you want? She wants me to wait for her so she can take charge again, and we could talk like grown-ups, I suppose, when my little upset is over. No, that's not happening. I want to turn that idea upside down. Okay. Is that your choice? Is this one of those things where you make me say it 3 times? Smart guy? Yes. Then yes, it's my choice. I'll leave her a note, lock up the house, and put my things in storage, and she won't be able to control when we talk. I won't let her take out her frustration on me that she'll likely call silly 3 times and done. All right then. You're making a strong choice, and I can respect that and support you. Have you written the note yet? In my mind, 12 times already. On paper, not yet. As you sit down to write, remember that being brief is important. Sometimes, less is better. Try not to go over one page for the strongest impact. Didn't you write a whole book? I paused for a moment and found it lying by the couch. The title was quite complicated, touching on many serious topics. She almost fell over laughing. My mistake. It took her some time to settle down. Yes, I get it. It was a tough lesson to learn. Let me share my thoughts on that academic letter. It's not really about making your ideas clear. It's more about showing how clever you are. A book like this gives your peers a reason to argue, so it doesn't hurt to make your thoughts a bit confusing. This also gives the writer a quick way to defend themselves. They can always say their critics simply didn't get it. Honestly, I've only written one book. The second one was just the first one, written again in easier language with interesting stories to attract readers. It sold much better than the first one. People respect the academic because it feels important, but more people read and understood mine, and they talked about it. I know someone named Professor Hooker. Their ideas make a lot of sense. I'm working on another book. This one will mostly have real-life examples. I'm hoping to change my name from Professor Whore to Dr. Heartbreaker for real. I can't wait to read it. Be careful what you wish for. You might find yourself in it. Wow, but in a good way. Thanks. So what will you write in your note? I'm making it part of her letter. I'll tell her that I won't play her game and that she can't blame me for our marriage ending. She broke the agreement when she changed the rules without talking to me first. That makes sense. It's a sad ending, but at least it feels balanced. A bell rang in my head. I realized I had gone quiet. Dave. Yeah. Sorry, I was just lost in thought. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I just don't want to stay in the house. I want to be out, doing who knows what with someone else. Are you busy tomorrow afternoon? What about tonight? Come to my house. Pack a bag. You can stay here for a few days. Thank you. That sounds great. I'll come over after work. I'll bring dinner. Not tomorrow, we'll stay in and I'll cook. Invite me out on Tuesday. Okay, it's a deal. Now I guess you have homework to do tomorrow. Start on your note. If I know you well enough, you'll write 10 ideas and throw away 9 of them. Yeah, just like Steph. You're right, I might think it over. And thank you. Thank you for everything. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Dave. I care about you. Next chapter, Stephanie. Absolutely. I deserve better. You chose to run away and lied to me once more. Everything you did made it clear you never wanted to face me directly. You carefully planned it that way. You chose to take out your anger on me while you were safe from my reach. After breaking my spirit, your goal was to twist my feelings to get what you wanted. I tried to be a good husband. I truly did my best. But if you think I'm not good enough, then maybe you shouldn't be married to anyone. I won't go along with your plans. I know it might hurt you, but it's what I need to do for myself. You made your choices even with our marriage. Now I'm making mine. I used our savings to pay off our joint debts. I've moved some of the remaining money into my own accounts, but I haven't touched our retirement funds yet. I'm working on a fair way to share our belongings. I've also changed the locks on the house, so please don't try to come in without me. Jessica has some of your clothes and enough things to get by for the next few days. The rest of your items are in the storage room. I've included a key and instructions on how to collect your things. I know you might think I'm being childish and unreasonable, claiming my anger and pride are silly reactions. You might say your feelings are strong and beautiful, while my hopes for our relationship are silly. If you want to blame our marriage ending on me because I couldn't accept your actions, that's on you. No, Stephanie, you're the one who ended it. You changed our relationship without even talking to me first. And as you said, this has been going on for a long time. Our marriage fell apart when you decided I didn't deserve to know the truth. And yes, I noticed. It didn't make things any better. You might have felt fine doing hurtful things, but I was filled with jealousy and doubt. You made me feel small even when you knew I had reason to feel that way. That's not how you treat someone you love or respect. You didn't honor me as your husband when you kept things from me. Instead, you made me feel like a fool. Looking back, we never really had a fair partnership. It mostly revolved around what you wanted. I went along because I loved you and wanted you to be happy, but you mistook my willingness to compromise for weakness. The only good thing to come from all this is our kids. I don't know what you'll tell them, but I think honesty is best. If you don't tell them the truth, I will. I don't care what you choose or where you go. That's your choice. I don't own you. I can't control you. But don't act surprised or angry when the door you opened has consequences. Now we are distant from each other. It's not good to be treated this way without talking things over, is it? I'm going to turn off my phone, and so should you. Please don't call or text me. Don't blame me for stopping our talks. You were the one who started it. It's not your choice when we talk. I'm not yours if you're not mine. I'll let you know when I want to fix this, likely with our lawyers present. Forget you, Dave. Time for a new chapter. I wasn't there when she got the letter. I wish I could have seen her reaction, but I'm glad I missed it. Did I want her to be upset, angry, challenged, humble? I would be upset with myself if I was happy to see her hurt. I'd be upset if I felt sad or regretted anything. It would frustrate me if I felt nothing at all. Neither of us could act in a way that felt right to me. So I left it all in the unknown. She tried to reach me a lot, but I turned my phone off. Later, Jessica told me she called her, crying and completely shocked. She wondered what I was thinking to kick her out for no reason after 22 years. She thought I must be seeing someone else. But then my daughter arrived with her things and explained that I had shown her the note left on the table. Steph was amazed. Stunned was what Jessie called it. She opened and closed her mouth many times without saying anything. Then she took the bags and boxes Jessie had brought her and left. I didn't take a day off work. I left at my usual time and went straight to Cookie's apartment. It was on the 3rd floor of a very old stone building near the university. The place had many layers of shiny paint on fixtures that were probably 100 years old. The floor creaked a bit, and the ceiling had stains from past leaks. Colorful rugs and tapestries decorated the walls, and the bookshelves were filled with books from thrift stores. Some shelves were made of sagging pine boards held up by cinder blocks and old milk crates. A worn stereo sat on a hand-painted table in the living room, with half-burned candles in mismatched candlesticks and used incense next to old bottles. The place smelled of patchouli and sandalwood, mixed with delicious cooking smells of garlic, olives, and tomatoes from the kitchen. Cookie clearly hadn't been a student or a professor. I sat awkwardly in the cozy space, unsure where to put my suitcase. When I peeked into the tiny bathroom, I saw there was no space for a toothbrush or razor. It was filled with strange bottles and odd gadgets, like a quirky pharmacist's lab. Eventually, I found myself sitting at her kitchen table with a glass of wine while she finished preparing dinner. She hummed the tune to Beauty School Dropout absent-mindedly. Another thought rang in my head. I did a quick count and then asked, "Hey, can I ask you something? Remember how all the grown-ups on Sesame Street thought Mr. Snuffleupagus was just an imaginary friend of Big Bird? Right? Sure." She stopped stirring the pot and stared off into space. They stopped that storyline because of concerns about child safety. The people who made the show wanted kids to feel that they were taken seriously. Grown-ups should believe them when they talk about what is real and what isn't. You got me thinking about Muppets, and my own situation with Steph reminded me of that. She kept saying for years that her book was just in my head. There was a lot of conflict in the story. It took everyone a while to see that. Snuffy was hidden for so long. It was a joke to say, "Oh, Big Bird, you're so silly. Snuffleupagus isn't real." When they finally decided to show him, there was that time Franklin held Snuffy by the trunk when he was getting ready to meet everyone. But it wasn't Franklin, it was Elmo. I got quiet, not sure what to say next. You're right. It was Elmo. But remember Franklin? She stopped stirring again. He wasn't on the show after they changed Gordon in 1975, I said slowly. I thought you knew about the early 80s when Snuffy finally appeared. You surprised me. You must have watched the first few seasons when they first aired. She turned back to the pot and said the dish was ready. It was pasta with mussels and garlic bread. It was delicious, and I told her so. Thanks, she said with a smile. You were just testing me. Smart boy? Go ahead and ask. Okay, how old are you? You look like you're in your 20s or maybe early 30s, but with your life experience, that can't be right. I'm 54. I think I'm older than you. I was amazed. How? Well, let's see. I've never smoked or used hard drugs. I don't drink much alcohol, just a little wine at dinner sometimes. I watch what I eat and eat lots of healthy food. I dance and exercise 4 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes each time. I also try to avoid the sun. My skincare routine is special, but it's the little things that matter. My healthy lifestyle helps a lot. I don't have kids, but I hang out with younger people, and that keeps my energy up. Plus, I have great genes. All my grandparents are over 100 years old, and none of them look older than 70. Based on that, I'm still pretty young for my age. That's amazing. What gave me away? Well, at first it was just little things. You knew Yvonne Craig was Batgirl. That didn't mean much on its own. You might have watched the old Batman show or seen it as a rerun. Yesterday you quoted Babylon 5. That one made me a bit sad, but there's something about it that ties it all together. That show aired in the early 90s, 30 years ago, and it almost never replayed or got streamed. You were either a big fan or you watched it when it was on TV. Right now you were humming a song from Grease. So you must have some memories from 1978. That made me think about what you said. You mentioned that Justin tried to hurt you 3 years after you turned 25. You spoke about being that age like it was ages ago, not just 5 or 6 years back. You've been working on your dissertation, but now you're an assistant professor, not just starting out. You have job security, which means you've worked hard in your career, and that can take a long time. Justin's band was busy trying to get signed to a music label, back when the music industry was still before online downloads. Your bullet scar is hardly visible now. It must be decades old. That happened in 1997. She shook her head. I'm not trying to hide my age. It's not a secret, but most people don't ask. I just let them think I'm 20 or 30 years younger and don't correct them. But I still get tricked sometimes. She raised her glass. I was nearly turned away for this Chianti. The girl at the store checked my ID. She thought I'd used my mom's ID. Why didn't I notice that when you showed it to me at the club? It was dark. You were busy talking. Usually no one pays much attention unless they're really looking. That's surprising. It's more common than you think. Society often thinks all women over 40 are grandmothers with gray hair, wrapped in shawls, grumbling about the cold while sipping weak tea and knitting with a cranky cat nearby. She laughed. I can act it out if you want. I can knit and crochet. I've got a shawl around here somewhere. I can even put the kettle on and make any tea I want. But my cat, Sebastian, gets nervous and hides when I have guests. Sebastian? Like the black and white cat from V? Oh my gosh, how could Stephanie think she could fool you? That only works in stories. Apparently in real life I can be really clueless, she said with a slight smile. I doubt that very much. Still, she must be really foolish to think you are in any way foolish. Well, thank you. I'll happily take that. Her smile was as warm as the sun. We didn't get close that night. I thought I would stay on the couch. But Cookie didn't want that. She brought me to her bed and we cuddled together in our underwear. I was too focused on other things, and she didn't push it. She must have noticed how I was feeling. The truth is that I was being careful. If I liked to get to know someone better, maybe things would have been different. But I didn't. The feeling of closeness grew stronger the next morning when I took a shower in her bathroom. I travel a lot for my job as a senior logistics manager. I work with trucks, trains, and cargo ships. It's all about moving containers, so I'm used to showering in different places. Cookie's apartment was nothing like a hotel or a fancy place. She had an old clawfoot bathtub, and the shower was attached, but not very safe. The bottom of the tub sloped and was slippery, so I had to be careful. The shower curtain wrapped all the way around, which made water flow in a strange way, getting the bottom edge of the curtain to stick to my legs. I had to make sure the curtain didn't open too much, or water would spill on the floor. I didn't know where to put my razor or which bottle to use. There were a lot of bottles hanging on a rack by the tub. I couldn't tell what was shampoo or body wash, and there wasn't a regular bar of soap, just different scrubs. It seemed like she didn't use that tub often, but it was her personal space, and everything was organized how she liked it. She could find anything she needed without a light, as shown by the several candle stubs around. Being in that space felt just as close as cuddling with her, maybe even more so. I went to work that day and managed to put my worries aside for a while. I had time to get a lot done. I blocked Steph's number and asked the receptionist to keep her away, but she didn't try to come to my work. She was supposed to be at school anyway, so I wondered what she said to her supervisor. I hoped my call didn't cause any trouble for her. Steph had left me around 100 voicemails, but I deleted them all. Let her think about how she had treated me. Was that the mature thing to do? Probably not. But was it the right thing? Yes, absolutely. True to my word, I took Cookie out to dinner that night. We decided that she would show me how to make sushi another time. Since I had just spent time with Jessica on Sunday, we decided to go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. I wanted to thank her for letting me stay at her place and for everything else she had done for me. This woman really helped me a lot. When the waitress came to our table, she seemed ready to ask how we were doing, but then she paused. She stepped closer and looked right into Cookie's eyes. "I love you," she said. Cookie's face lit up with happiness. "I love you too, Liz. I didn't know you worked here." "I've only been here for 2 months," Liz replied. "I really like it. What are you doing here? And who is your friend?" she asked. "Dave's been staying with me for a few days, so I'm treating him," Cookie said. "I love him too." "Oh, I see," Liz said as she turned to me. "Welcome to the club. We should have a secret handshake or something. I'm Liz. I was in your position about 2.5 years ago." I wondered where I would be without her help. "You're in good hands," Liz continued. "She's a friend for life." "It's nice to meet you, Liz. I'm excited to share our stories," I said. "Telling our stories helps." "Up to a point," she replied. But after a while, I realized I was just feeling sorry for myself. Eventually, I learned to find a balance between accepting the past and focusing on the future. I could never have done it without her support. Liz smiled kindly. "Dave is just starting to go through this," Cookie said. "It really hit him on Thursday." "Oh my God, Dave, I'm so sorry," Liz said. "But listen, if she's not around or if you need help, I can be there for you too. You need friends and people to support you. I've been in tough situations before, so let me join your group." I nodded in surprise. "So what can I get for you both?" I ordered a half a reason, and Cookie asked for a Pinot Grigio. Liz quickly got our drinks along with bread and water for the table. Cookie smiled at me. "I know what you're thinking," she said. "Yes, Liz and I are good friends. She's been through tough times like I've been trying to help you. I see that as my purpose. But I won't share her story. It's not mine to tell. You should talk to her about that." She continued, "I don't spread rumors or gossip. I respect people's privacy and don't talk about their personal lives, okay? You can ask her when she's ready to share." She added, "Just promise not to talk about it outside of this place, all right?" "Sure, no problem," I said for the 3rd time. "Good, you have my word," she replied. "That's a fair deal." I felt the weight of the words settle, and we made our agreement. It was like a quiet bell ringing. "Let me ask you this, not about Liz, that's her story. But you told me you've decided you don't like girls. I help people in many ways. Each situation is different. Helping is just that. A close relationship is a close relationship. It might seem odd to some, but it doesn't bother me. Why doesn't it bother you? Because, clever one, I care about you. I care about you too." "What? What?" Stephanie stood at the end of our table listening to us say, "I care about you," and watching us hold hands. A bunch of excuses from cheaters flashed in my mind, ready to spill out. "It's not what it seems. I can explain. It's not like that." The only thing that kept me from speaking was that the words tangled up inside me. I let Cookie take the lead. "You must be Stephanie. Who are you? A friend?" She held my hand a little tighter. Was she still holding it? "A good friend. Dave is dealing with some problems at home and needs emotional support. His wife was unfaithful and now wants him to accept it, to forgive her and move on." She looked at me. "Did I get that right?" "Pretty much. This is none of your business. Now let go of my husband's hand." "What husband? I thought you had 2 partners. Isn't that what you wrote in your letter?" "David." "Who is this man?" "Stephanie," I said calmly. "You just spent 4 days away having fun with your secret second partner and left me to deal with my feelings alone. Now you're upset because I'm having dinner with a friend? You have a lot of nerve. Why are you here? How did you even find me? Your phone. Cookie mentioned it. She used the location feature. You both have the same phone plan, right? At least for her regular phone. She probably has another one, a flashy one for her boyfriend. Don't talk about me as if I'm not here." "I apologize," Cookie said. "I'm sorry. Look, Stephanie, I don't want to upset you. I'm really not a violent person. I'm only pointing out how ironic this is. You had a lover outside your marriage. You haven't let go of him. You plan to keep seeing him no matter how your husband feels. But now you're angry about Dave holding another woman's hand in a restaurant. I'm sorry, but you don't have a reason to be angry. You opened your marriage, remember? Well, I didn't expect him to do that. He wouldn't. She shook her head and blinked, looking at me. Well, Dave, you didn't waste time trying to get back at me, did you? I'll admit that surprised me. I'm not trying to get back at you, Stephanie. I said I'm trying to clear things between us. We broke up the moment you started treating me this way. You haven't been married to me in a long time, yet you act like nothing's wrong. I'm just accepting how things are now. She stood up and said, I'm sorry you feel that way. If you were more mature, you could handle this better. Maybe think about what I have to say next. This is what happened to me before. You thought I was being nice? I knew it would hurt you. I was trying to be kind. Keep believing that. Maybe someday you'll really think it's true. You two need to talk more, said Cookie, and it's about time. I should leave now. I agree, Stephanie said. But before you go, you need to tell me your name. I'm Cookie. Cookie? What kind of name is that? It's my real name, but I dance under a different name each time. Oh my gosh, are you really a dancer? You're joking, right? This is too funny. Oh my gosh, Dave. I can't believe you actually went to a dance club. That's so funny. It's awful. It's really sad. How could you do that? You know how we feel about places like that? Well, maybe that would be a good way to challenge you, wouldn't it? Just remember what you did this weekend and stay quiet. How dare you speak to me that way? To answer your question, my great-grandfather named me Cookie, she said, like Steph and I weren't going to argue. He drove a cattle wagon across the Oregon Territory. Stephanie just stared at her, confused. I promise it's a better story than you think, she continued. When my mom was pregnant, she jokingly said she had a bun in the oven. My dad said I would be sweeter than a bun and thought I was more like a cookie. That's how I got my name. They thought of many other names. I could have been Jennifer, or Melissa, or even Stephanie. But once they settled on Cookie, they forgot the other names and kept calling me that. Eventually, they put Cookie on my birth certificate since that was what they really wanted to call me. Honestly, it's great. No one forgets it or spells it wrong. Stephanie didn't say anything. She just looked at her. This is probably the 673rd time I've shared this story. All right, enough about me. How about you? Oh, I'm fine. I caught my husband with someone else, so my day is perfect. Thank you very much, Emma. We're not having an affair. I don't think he even wants one. He doesn't seem like the casual type. She turned to me and looked me up and down. It's not that I don't want to. So what do you call holding hands in public and saying I love you? That's exactly what it sounds like. Dave is a good friend, and I do love him. He's really going through a tough time, and I'm here to support him, just like everyone who says they care should. I doubt you want to talk about your role in this, David. She chose to ignore what was happening because she was losing. Let go of her hand and come home with me now. We were actually still holding hands. How about this, Stephanie? Cookie said in a steady voice. Just to be clear, I don't want anything from your husband, and he doesn't want anything from me. I belong to myself, and I don't claim anyone. That's how it's always been. I don't want to take him from you. You were the one who pushed him away. Steph looked surprised as she tried to understand. Where did you find her, Dave? I met her at a night event. Relax. She's one of Jessica's professors. She teaches both psychology and sociology. She even has 2 doctorates. I also teach a dance class at the fitness center. She gave a playful wink and stood up from the booth. I should let you two talk. I can't be a fair judge here. Plus, I have some work to finish. She leaned against me and kissed me quickly on the lips. You still owe me dinner. Soon? I'll see you at home later. Count on it, I said as Stephanie began to get upset. Cookie turned and walked away, swinging her hips a little. I made a mental note to tell her she was very composed. Come on, David. We're going home, Steph said. Stephanie, wife, or whatever you choose to call yourself. I will be polite. I can't believe I'm doing this. But I invite you to sit down and have dinner with me. I haven't made a reservation, but we can still talk like you wanted. After that, you can go your way and I'll go mine. But I won't be taking orders from you anymore. That's it. If you don't like it, you can just walk away. It's your choice. Steph hesitantly sat down at the seat Cookie had just left. Liz chose that moment to arrive with drinks and bread. I'll give you both a few more minutes since you just got here, she said and quietly left. Stephanie hardly noticed this and ignored the wine. I really don't like her, she frowned. I understand. What's not to like? She's beautiful, smart, accomplished, and interesting. She finds me interesting and cares about me. You should too, even if nothing has happened yet. If that's true, it's even worse. You're having an emotional affair. Don't you know that's just as bad? Seriously, is that what I'm doing? I hadn't thought of that. Why do you think so? Come on, why talk about love that way? She says it to everyone. She even told the waitress. No way. Just ask her. Her name is Liz. I will. And what's this about seeing you at home later? I'm staying with her for a bit. I didn't want to be at home when you got back. You're sleeping at her place? In her bed? That's not your concern. Come on, Steph, you're being a hypocrite. You told me you loved another guy and you've been seeing him for years. I never said that. You totally did. I never mentioned it was a guy. I only said it had been going on for a long time. Don't act surprised. You've been having fun with Lee behind my back for nearly 2 years, and you pretended not to know. How could you do that? I never knew. Seriously, I'm not blind or heartless, and I'm not foolish either. I never thought you were foolish. That's part of the problem. If you didn't think I was foolish, why did you think you could keep me in the dark for so long? But you did. I just wouldn't let myself see it. I didn't want to face the truth. Instead, I spent all that time blaming myself for being a bad husband. Because I had my suspicions about you, and you let me do it. You even encouraged it. You enjoyed watching me struggle like that. It's exhausting. You said your secret made our marriage better because you were happy. But no, Stephanie, that's not true. It didn't make things better. I was unhappy and hurting inside for a long time. You took advantage of me and betrayed my trust. That's not a good marriage by any measure. I know you're upset. Fine. I admit I made mistakes. Still, you keep insisting it's all my fault. It doesn't matter that I'm upset while you continue to do wrong and won't change. Why is it my job to fix it? Yes, maybe we could have handled this in a better way. But the important thing is that as adults, we don't lose our cool and do reckless things. That stunt with the locks and the vault was over the top. Oh, please. Do you even hear yourself? It's not me being immature. You're the one being selfish, and you don't even realize it. You're too used to dealing with kids. But you can't treat me like one of those kids at your school. You're rude and manipulative, and it's cruel. Yes, it is cruel. You don't need to say that. What part of this isn't true? Why can't you see that you're the one making a mess? I'm not the problem here. You wrote in that letter about how great a husband I am. But you've been a terrible wife. Well, I guess I'll just have to accept that. She began sulking again. I didn't expect our talk to turn out this way. I'm sure you didn't either. I hoped our marriage would be better than this. So did I. She looked sadder now and less angry. Hey, guys, Liz said quietly as she returned to the table. I'm sorry to interrupt. I can see this is an important talk and I won't get in your way. Have you decided what you want to eat yet? I'm not hungry, Stephanie replied. I am, though. I came here for steak. I'll have the filet. She ordered a small steak, cooked slightly less than medium, with a baked potato prepared just how you like it. Stephanie's meal would be a starter of ravioli with veal and 2 salads with blue cheese, I said, losing my appetite. I've been married to you for 20 years. I know better. The food will come. You'll smell it. And you can't watch me eat without taking half of it. Besides, you love the veal ravioli here. By the time it gets here, you'll be happy I ordered it. If you won't eat it anyway, you can take it home. She shrugged, knowing I was right. Good. Very good, Liz said, moving aside as if something was wrong. One thing I've noticed, I said, is that this whole situation is tiring. I'm not hungry most of the time, but when I am, I feel it deeply. That's how it goes with everything. I don't feel tired, yet I fall asleep without purpose. I don't feel like doing anything, but when I do, I focus hard. I know I have problems, and honestly, it's a relief. At least now I know I'm not imagining things. At least I see what's real and what isn't. It hasn't been easy for me either, she replied. Do you think I like this? No, I don't. I didn't like lying to you or hiding things. I wanted to tell you what was happening, to share the most important feelings I've had, but I couldn't. There was no one to talk to. Not you, not the kids, not friends or family. I felt alone. Damn it, I thought. She really did look unhappy. Don't expect sympathy, Stephanie. The reason you couldn't share is that it was wrong. You did things you shouldn't have, and deep down you know it, even if you won't admit it. Your parents treated you badly and you think shame is awful, a useless feeling that holds you back. But that's not true. Shame can help us. It stops us from doing hurtful things. It makes you feel bad when you do something wrong. Do you know what they call people without shame? Sociopaths. They don't feel shame. You mean empathy? She said. Sociopaths don't feel empathy, not shame. You got that part wrong. Well, I don't feel much empathy from you either. I have sympathy. I know this is hard for you. I told you that you looked upset when you saw me with Cookie. If you thought for a second about how I'd feel if you did the same thing, you wouldn't do it. Seriously? Imagine if I fell for someone else and kept it a secret. If I said you were overreacting when you felt suspicious and made fun of you for being jealous, even though I knew you had a reason to feel that way, how would you react? That shock? That anger? That disgust? You wouldn't want to think about that, right? It would feel unreal to you. She couldn't meet my gaze. I went on. What would you think if Michael married someone who acted like that? If your sister-in-law decided to be unfaithful and fell for another man, keeping it hidden from him, you would feel very angry. You wouldn't even want to imagine what you would do to Jessica's husband. If he had another wife he hadn't told anyone about, kept her quiet for years, and then told her to just accept it and be part of a group marriage, what would happen to him? They might never find him again. She didn't say anything. Let's focus on your boyfriend. I feel sorry for your other partner. If you really care about him, wouldn't you want something better than an affair with a married woman who could hurt his job? Doesn't he deserve his own love, his own wife, not just a hidden relationship? You've made things very complicated for him. You're turning him into someone who is just waiting at home. Tears filled her eyes. Enough already. I thought about her husband and the kids too, but she was really just upset with her bad boyfriend. The only person you care about is yourself, Stephanie. You seem to only focus on your own wants. You don't think about who else might get hurt. I guess that's how you feel. Forget everyone else. This love seems worth everything to you. Is that what you did? You don't have to say it like that. Why not? You're being harsh. Look at yourself and say it again. Liz chose that moment to bring in the salads. Thanks, Liz, I said. Oh, and hi, I appreciate you. She paused with a smile. I appreciate you too, then turned and walked away. I guess we had our own little moment after all. What's up with that? Stephanie said. It's just words. I really think Liz is nice. I care about her. I won't have a relationship with her, but I can show her kindness. You can't just say you care like that. She seems okay with it. I see it, but I don't quite get it. Why? There are many kinds of love. I can care about anyone. I can care about everyone if I choose, except your boyfriend. Forget him. But everyone else? Sure, why not? Do you still care about me? Of course I do. Do you? Yes. Then why are you speaking to me like this? Because I'm not as committed to you anymore. Because you're no longer devoted to me. You broke that promise. It wasn't an accident. You meant to do it. You've been doing it for a long time and you're still doing it. I deserve better in a relationship. You even said that in your letter. You probably do, right? And yes, I did mean that. I just never thought that you'd be like this. I wasn't sure what I thought. She sighed and took a small step back. I was hoping you'd be more understanding. My being understanding isn't the problem, is it? Then what is? Oh, Stephanie. If it was just a physical thing, that would be different. If you talked to me, and if we both decided together, maybe we could come to an understanding. It could open the door for something new, but maybe not. Probably not. But if I had some say in things, it would show me that I still mattered to you. It would mean our marriage still meant something, but who knows? You never talked to me about it. You just pushed me aside. I was only in the way. Because you were married, it made things tricky. You chose to ignore that. You did matter to me. That's why I couldn't tell you the truth. You set me aside and pretended for 2 long years. You led me along. You weren't honest with me and watched as I got hurt. I wasn't just someone in your life. I was meant to be your partner, your trusted friend in this crazy thing we call life. Instead, I was just someone you thought didn't deserve to know what was really happening in our marriage. And that's what broke it. I hoped that after all this time and being together for so long, you might find it in your heart to forgive me. Yeah, they say it's easier to get forgiveness than ask for permission, right? But that doesn't make it right. It's still wrong to think things will just be okay in the end. Getting forgiveness doesn't fix the issues. I know that. But I did what I did, and I can't take it back. Now, you can find a way to forgive me, which would be great, or you can stay angry with me for the rest of your life, which will only hurt you. Thanks a lot for putting that weight on my shoulders." I sighed. The worst part is you're right. In time, I will forgive you. But our marriage is over now. Once I deal with all this, however long it takes, and after I have time alone or maybe with other people, I will find a way to forgive you for my own peace. But it won't be soon, not for you, and not to save our marriage. It will happen when I'm ready, not because you want it. You don't have the right to rush me. I think it will take many years. By then, we probably won't even be talking. You won't know when it happens, and it won't matter to you. It shouldn't be over between us. I thought we were doing well. Didn't we have a good marriage? You seemed happy. Did you really mean that? What I didn't know didn't hurt me? Yes, that's what you think. I hope one day you see how terrible that is. What if I had a serious illness and didn't know? Doesn't that illness still harm me, even if I don't feel it? Of course it does. It could take my life even if I don't feel sick. And if I did feel sick, I could ignore it for a while. That's what you did to our marriage. You let it get worse. If I had known, we might have had a chance to fix it. By hiding it, you let the damage grow until it was too late. She didn't know what to say, so she stayed quiet. Liz took the chance during a quiet moment to bring out some food. It looked delicious and smelled amazing. "It looks wonderful, Liz." "Thank you," I said. "You're welcome. Do you need anything else?" Liz asked. "Yes, I do," Stephanie replied. "That woman who was here before, she said, 'I love you.'" I said it too. "So, are you talking about girlfriends or something like that?" Liz raised an eyebrow, letting Stephanie feel a bit uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pry. I just want to understand what's happening with my husband," Stephanie said. Liz looked at me, and I nodded slightly. "That was Cookie Duddridge, and she's not anyone's girlfriend," Liz started. "If you're worried she will take your husband away, you don't need to be. She says, 'I love you' to her friends. For her, it's a genuine connection, not romantic. It doesn't mean much in that way." "No, of course it means something. It means everything," Stephanie replied. "But that doesn't mean you're in a romantic relationship," Liz explained. "When people say 'I love you,' they might think it means they want to spend their life together, get married, and have kids. Saying it is a big deal, but it doesn't always mean that. Love is just a feeling. Feelings happen. You can love someone, but you also make choices about how to live your life. You don't have to be trapped by your emotions," Liz said, looking at Stephanie for confirmation. Stephanie looked shocked, like someone who had just learned an easy way to do something they always struggled with. Wow, is it really that simple? Just cause and effect? Strong feelings mean you should act on them? Stephanie thought to herself. Why did I get into an affair so easily? Why did I think I could pressure you into saying yes? That clears up a lot. A few years ago, Liz continued, my boyfriend, who was my fiancé at the time, cheated on me. We'd been together for almost 7 years. Getting married was just a formality. He was everything to me, and we had 2 kids together. Another woman came into the picture, and he left for Calgary. I was in a very dark place for a long time. Cookie kind of took me in. She helped me get back on my feet. She showed me a different way of looking at things. I learned that she is just that kind of person. So yes, she's been a friend, and more when I needed support. I can't say enough about how much I care for her. That's just how it is, Liz explained. Stephanie seemed to have no response to that. I thanked Liz for sharing, and she left the room. Stephanie stared at her plate, picking at the food. I don't want a divorce, she said quietly. I still love you more than anything. But I never meant for things to turn out this way. I thought you cared about me enough to make an effort. Don't you love me enough to try, Stephanie? I really do love you. Don't doubt that. But that doesn't mean you can ignore my feelings and treat me poorly. You can't use that love to ask for things I can't give. I have never treated you badly. I have always cared for you. There's no hidden agenda. I just want things to go back to how they were. We had a nice life together. I don't want to change anything. So I should just pretend that you're happy with him, like you don't care about him more than you care about me? No. Can't you see? It has been hurting me for a long time. I wanted to share this with you from the start, but I was afraid you wouldn't take it well. I never wanted to make you look foolish. I thought keeping quiet was the right choice. But my feelings for you haven't changed. I still love you just as much as before, and he's not more important to me than you are. I guess you could say he is. Being with him was worth risking our marriage, but that wasn't worth losing you to keep what we had safe. That's why he seemed more important. He still does. You didn't even try to think about giving him up. She looked down at her ravioli. A few moments passed before she replied, "It wouldn't have mattered if I had, Dave. I would have been dishonest. I couldn't have done it for real even if I tried. You wouldn't believe me or trust me." Finally, some honesty. I didn't think I was risking our relationship. I didn't. I thought we were strong enough to handle the changes. After all, we have twins. You can't ignore that Michael and Jessica changed our marriage. Everything changed when we became a family with kids. It wasn't always easy, but it was worth it, right? In the end, despite the sleepless nights, the worries, the challenges we faced, starting a family made our marriage stronger. It was the best choice we ever made. You can't argue with that. I thought it would always be like this. Michael is my son. Jessica is my daughter. A thought crossed my mind. Really? Tell the truth. I'd want to know. Of course you would. I would never hurt you like that. What you think I would or wouldn't do to you isn't something I really trust. I shook my head, trying to clear my thoughts. If you're being honest this time, if we're a family, then they're a part of me, part of us. And that was our shared decision. I became a father, just like you became a mother. But Lee Davenport is an outsider. He doesn't belong. You did this without me. You left me out. I don't even like him. And there's no reason to. He made me feel like a stranger in my own family. I don't want him here, and I shouldn't have to accept him as part of our family. I'm not in any relationship. You better not let me see him again. While I said this, another part of me was shouting, "Forget you! Forget you!" Those words didn't actually come out of my mouth, but Steph seemed to feel them anyway. My steak was perfect, so I chose to focus on it for a bit. "We're still married," Stephanie said as she ate her ravioli. "It's not that simple. You can't just say it's over. I want to fight for this. I want us to go to counseling. I'm going to put this off. Things would be easier and cheaper if you just accepted that I'm still in your life and not going anywhere." "You know what? That's a good idea. Let's go to counseling. I'll set it up. But it won't go the way you think. If you think you'll have the counselor on your side to get me to accept your choices, you are mistaken. No, the sessions will be about helping you see what you've done to hurt our marriage," she said firmly. "I'm not trying to end our marriage." "But you are. Then let the games begin." She continued, "It's wrong for you to call Hal. What did you tell him?" "It had nothing to do with my work. I just called to ask about the teachers' conference you told Jessica about. You know, the one that never happened. He didn't know anything and thought you were home with me. Well, he called me in today and asked if everything was fine at home and if I had anything to share. He even told me to check the county employee handbook. You didn't mention taking time off, did you? I might have asked if he knew where you were. Why did you do that? You shouldn't have gotten close to that guy. It's not fair to drag others into this." "Good idea. Keep others out of it. But you need to take responsibility for your actions. If you can't handle the fallout, you shouldn't have gone down this road. Besides, Hal is smart. He would have figured it out sooner or later if he didn't already have an idea. I'm sure he knows about the rumors." "What rumors?" "Your students were talking about you two. It started when Jessica and Michael were in high school. Didn't you know?" Stephanie looked shocked. "No, it can't be true. Ask them." "I don't even want to," she said, looking down. "Why did you tell the kids? Why did you let them see the letter I left for you? I never thought you'd do that. It was meant to be private." "How's our marriage?" "Just don't say that again, okay? Just answer the question." "Fine. I let them read the letter because they need to know the truth. I didn't want you to make me look like the bad person. You were going to tell them some story about how we were no longer close. Then you would say that Lee was just a friend who was there for you until you fell in love and married him, instead of telling the truth about your secret relationship. That's not fair. I would never do that to you. It's funny because that's exactly what you were planning to do. No, I want to stay married but also have a friendship with him. I know that can work. For 2 years it did work. 2 years of lies and breaking my trust. 2 years of confusing my mind and my heart. No. No way. Not with this guy. No way. Not now and never without talking to me first. You want an open marriage? We need to discuss it. You want counseling? That should have happened before you started seeing him. Asking for forgiveness after everything is not enough. You're probably right, but it is what it is. We need to make this work. We have to. I just realized something. What? You still haven't really apologized? Yes, I have. Many times. I wrote about it in my letter. No. You said you were sorry that it happened and that I was hurt. But you're not sorry for what you did. I thought you said you didn't regret anything, that you would regret it more if you hadn't been with him. No, Stephanie. You don't regret having an affair. You only regret what happened because of it. She slumped back in her seat. And you haven't said a real apology since you got to this table. No, I have apologized. I admitted I was wrong. But that's not the same as truly feeling sorry. If it happened again, I would do things very differently. But you would have done the same thing anyway. I would have. She sat up straight. But I would have made sure you knew I wasn't leaving you. That this had nothing to do with you or our marriage, and you're right. You should have this conversation. I didn't treat my husband with the respect he deserves. I'm really sorry for that. And I'm truly sorry that I hurt you. You have to believe me, but you still don't regret what you did, or that you plan to keep doing it. She went silent. I said I do, but she couldn't say it because love is complicated. I said it would be wrong to hide how you feel about him. Again, the same thing, I continued. And it would be wrong not to act on that feeling. That would be a betrayal of true feelings. Yes. Well, that was it. I thought about it for a moment. Get out of here, Stephanie. Get up from the table and just walk away. Leave me alone now. Dave, I go away. She jumped and scrambled her hands around the table. Her body slid out of the seat and she paused for a moment. I'm sorry. She said goodbye one last time and walked away with tears on her cheeks. I suddenly noticed that I was holding a steak knife tightly in my right hand, my knuckles turning white. I didn't mean to. I promised. I dropped the knife and stared off into space. Soon after, Liz walked in. I didn't need to ask how it went. She looked at me with sympathy in her eyes. About as well as could be expected, I told her honestly. Drink this slowly, she said, setting down a small glass of a light brown liquid in front of me. She didn't use a tray. She simply held it in her hand. Sip it. Just let it rest on your tongue. I brought the glass to my nose and smelled it. Bourbon. I raised an eyebrow at her. Angel's envy. Neat, she said with a little smile. It's on me. Enjoy it. If you hurt yourself, I'll have to be tough with you. I knew she wasn't really going to hit me. It tasted amazing. I let the smooth, sweet flavor fill my mouth, and I felt better all over. You are really good at this, Liz. I work at the bar most evenings. You start to understand what people like. I'm really, really glad you're on my team, especially tonight. I'd love to join yours, too. I care about you. She smiled. I care about you, too. I tipped her more than I usually would. When I got back to Cookie's house, she asked how it went. It went fine, I said, raising my hands in surrender. I agreed to go to counseling, not to make up, just to sort things out. I'm sorry our evening was cut short. I still owe you a nice dinner. Have you eaten? Yes, of course. The same as always. Hummus, olives, carrots, and cottage cheese. Those with shredded radish, crackers, and pita bread. It's lighter than a big meal. I'd still have to work it off at the gym later. She shrugged. But counseling is a good idea. I think you might learn something about Stephanie and maybe yourself, too. A lot can come from those sessions. I hope so. One thing is already clear to me. I flopped onto the couch. What's that? I said. She doesn't feel bad. She doesn't regret what she did. She only feels sorry for how I feel about it. She regrets the mess, but not the actions that caused it. She keeps being stubborn about it. Cookie nodded as I talked. I understand. From what you've said, you're right. From her view, everything would be fine if you never knew about her secret and didn't find out. Of course, she's wrong. You'd be living a lie and she'd be taking advantage of you, but that's how she sees it now. She can't regret it unless she admits she did something wrong. Love is never wrong. That's what she believes. I frowned, putting it all together. So, since she's in love, she thinks she's doing nothing wrong, at least in her own mind. How frustrating. Love is never wrong, but just because something isn't wrong doesn't mean it's right. That kind of thinking is flawed. It doesn't mean that love is okay in every situation. Love can sometimes be empty, out of place, unwise, unhealthy, or even risky. There are many reasons why love can be a bad idea, even if it isn't outright wrong. That's true, even if she does care about this other person, or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just tells herself that to make sense of her choices. Calling it love helps her feel better about it. People do all sorts of wild and foolish things in the name of love. It feels daring to go against what is good and true. Being defiant can feel bold. You see this kind of thinking everywhere, but it can lead to all sorts of trouble in people's lives. Like in ours, like in yours or hers. You've realized there's no more time between you two, right? Right. I felt quiet. The thought that Steph might never regret her time with that guy was hard to take, but she felt good about herself. She enjoyed the spotlight and excitement. She had the bravery to go after what she wanted, no matter the risks. If she hadn't, she would have felt let down. But does that mean she'd do it again with someone else later? It felt like the only way to have a happy and loyal marriage was to marry someone who was never wanted by anyone else. That didn't seem right. No, a marriage works when you make choices together, and that means you have many choices available. Being trapped with no choices isn't what marriage is about. Marriage is about choosing the same person in life each day. Either person could decide to leave at any moment, but they stay. That's what deserves respect. You support each other through good times and tough times, especially during the tough ones. Was this one of those tough times? Had I really failed so badly? Cookie said, "Tell me what you're thinking." Stephanie will never feel regret. That's just not who she is. She thinks she should have acted differently to better handle how I reacted. In her mind, her mistake was not being clever enough with me. The issue lies with me, not her. I'm the one who is strong-willed and prideful. She didn't consider that. She thought she could break my spirit. Cookie nodded in understanding. She doesn't realize how harsh that can be. Many women don't know how vital pride is for men, how much society expects from them. Men are supposed to be tough, independent, and steady. They are meant to provide for others. They are meant to be supportive, kind, and open with their emotions. But they should never show weakness or ask for help. Men need care just like everyone else, but asking for it often feels wrong. That's how we learn growing up. Next chapter. At some point that crazy evening, she must have helped me to bed. I woke up next to Cookie. Even though we weren't dating, it felt a lot like we were. I got up at my usual time and realized I had to go to work. Cookie stirred and made soft sounds. I didn't need to get up yet. There was no class until 10. But I have to. Too bad. "Are you feeling better?" she asked. I remember last night was hard. It started fine, then got tough, and finally became a nice moment. "Good. You deserved it." I felt selfish. "Don't be. It was special for both of us. I didn't even return the favor. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't have been ready, even if you had tried. I would have had to push you away." "Really? You were great. I loved every bit of it. And I love you. You should be proud of yourself. You're a good man and a caring partner." She smiled. "And very attractive. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about." "Oh, and can you meet me at 4 o'clock this afternoon?" "Yeah, I guess so. I left early yesterday, but I can try to fit it in today if I change a few things. What's the plan?" "We're going to the gym together. You're not in bad shape." "Your body is fine," she said, "but exercise is good for your brain. It helps lift your mood and makes you feel good about yourself. It's like a natural boost. You need to take care of yourself, and that's more important than what others think." "Oh, okay. I should sneak home and look for some workout clothes." Her eyes narrowed a bit when she noticed I needed shoes. "You need sneakers you can run in. They don't have to be fancy. And a small towel will help too. A regular hand towel is fine. Don't worry, I'll take it easy on you. We'll just get started and get your energy up. We'll meet at the University Sports Center. I'll sign you in." "Okay. Go take a shower. I'll make coffee." Once I got to work, I had to go to HR. I needed to let them know I was getting a divorce. I had to change my direct deposits, insurance, and retirement accounts. I also told them I would need a few personal days to meet with lawyers and counselors. They were very helpful and professional, but strangely distant. We worked for a large company, and while my situation felt awful for me, it was just another day for them. I felt very low about this part of things. There's an old saying, "What's normal for a spider is chaos for a fly." Right now, I felt like a fly. After that, I looked up some marriage counselors and made an appointment. I also thought about texting Steph. When I unlocked my phone, I saw around 100 emails and messages from her. I deleted them all. I knew I was in for another tough day. I was able to leave early and headed to the house, hoping to get there before Steph came back. That's when I saw the storage unit. It had been delivered right where I had filled it up with Jesse and Cookie. Steph must have decided to undo my work and treat it like a silly joke. Sigh, okay, my new keys didn't work. The locks were changed again. The second new set looked fancy. She had broken into the house. Yes, she broke the back door window and had it fixed, probably by the same person who changed the locks. Thankfully, she hadn't figured out the garage door opener or messed with the kitchen door lock, so I could still get into the house that way. I thought I should leave myself a way to get inside while she was busy replacing things, so I made sure Michael's window locks were still off since he had been sneaking in at night thinking we didn't notice. Steph put most things back to normal, trying to fix what I had done. But she still had more to do. She was working alone and seemed overwhelmed, so she couldn't do the work of 3 people in one day. While I was packing my stuff and a few other random things, I realized something I should have noticed on Saturday. Stephanie had a lot more things than I did. If I had been trying to pack my things to leave, I could have done it all by myself in an hour or 2. The space I used was just half of the closet, most of the dresser, 1 chair in the living room, and a little spot on the dining room table where I sometimes put my work laptop. That was the only area I felt was mine in my own home. Everything else belonged to Stephanie. I was just there, making my presence small and not really noticed. I ended up tossing most of my stuff in the car. Everything fit. I left the chair behind on my way to the university gym, wearing an old t-shirt, gym shorts, and my only pair of tennis shoes. I realized again how behind I was in dealing with everything when I saw it. No one was sleeping in our bed. Stephanie hadn't even been there. Next chapter. I wish I could say my time at the gym was fun and gave me energy, but it was the opposite. I felt foolish, awkward, weak, tired, and old. Cookie was nice and didn't hold it against me, but I could only pick up on a little of what she was showing me, and I felt like I was slowing her down. "It's tough at first," she said. "I know, but it will get easier." "How long do I have to work out before that happens?" I asked. "After the 3rd or 4th time, it will feel much better. You don't have to push yourself. Just come. Showing up the first time is the most important part. You'll do more when you're ready." "If you say so." "Yes, you might not believe me now, but you'll feel better in a few hours and you'll be proud of yourself." "I guess I'll have to trust what you say." We were at Planet Smoothie, right in the lobby. Cookie had some snacks that seemed nice. I should have felt happy. She said it's important to have a routine, to help me feel better. Do it automatically, even when you don't want to. Later, you'll be thankful. Having a set structure can help when you're feeling out of sorts. Right now, everything feels aimless, like I'm just floating. Taking charge and seeing results in your life can really lift your spirits. It's all about practice, but it can connect to many other things, not just exercise. Exercise is one good way to start. You get quick benefits from small efforts. She tilted her head. "But you're right. There are lots of other activities that can help. In the days ahead, you might think about trying those. I know there's a lot to handle. I don't just mean organizing things like meetings with a lawyer or therapist or managing bank accounts. I believe you've managed that part. But I mean the deeper stuff, like your way of life, your personality, your career. It's time to think about what you truly want. Well, I know what I don't want. I don't want to go back to how things were before. I don't want to chase after my spouse. She wants something different. Forget it. I don't want to stay married to her. Even if she leaves her boyfriend, she'll still feel bitter towards me, like I've done something really bad. It's good you see that. But look, it would be better to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Think of it as a positive statement, not a negative one. For example, if I tell you not to think about tigers, what comes to mind? Tigers, right? The negative thought just makes you focus on that. Positive statements create new ideas that replace the old ones. If I say to think about watermelons, what do you think of? Watermelons, not tigers. Oh, I understand now. So tell me, Dave, what do you want? What do you want your future to look like? I looked up at the ceiling. That's a really good question. There's no rush and no set rules. You can change your mind if you wish, even many times. What do you think I should do? I believe you need to stop asking others what's right for you and decide for yourself. Right. Sorry for asking that. No need to apologize. It's just habit. You've been so used to making others happy that it's hard to focus on yourself. Well, that's true. I furrowed my brows. I want to ask that question differently, but I can't think of a better way. Sometimes asking questions can be more important than finding answers. Was that a question? It was more like a thought. For example, what would it be like if you could have everything just the way you wanted? Where would you be if you could go anywhere? Who would you choose to have in your life? What could you do if you could do anything? You might be surprised by some of the answers you discover. I hope you are. And even if you can't get everything you want, I believe you might find something close that you will like even more. Why? Because it's real, and you can make it happen. It's yours. I have a lot to think about, right? Of course you do, but there's no need to rush. A lot will happen soon. There will be starts and stops, many options to consider. We won't know what will happen until someone decides what will work. That someone should probably be you. Yes, it should. A divorce is a big change in our lives. People might move to new places, switch jobs, or start new relationships. It marks a clear before and after in your life. We often see it as something negative, but it can also be a chance for growth and change. How often do we get the chance to start fresh, to try things we usually wouldn't, to leave behind our old selves and become more like the person we've always wanted to be? It's scary, of course. It can feel overwhelming, but it can also be exciting, a new challenge. Think of all you've ever wanted to do but were too afraid to try. You might say, I could never do that. But now never feels like an option. Where do I even begin? Let's go back to where we started. You become who you want to be by taking action. Do you want to be someone who goes to the gym? You do that by actually going. Are you a fisherman, a writer, a dancer, a gamer, or something else? It all begins with small steps, just like starting any new project. First, you have to believe it's something real. That's the hardest part. Then you start to play with it. You spend time on it. You practice. You do more, and soon you get good at it. Keep at it long enough, and it becomes a part of who you are, not just a thought in your mind. Something changed for me. I remember realizing that I'd never danced before an important moment. I leaned back a bit, thinking I might have ruined my chances with this woman, but I hadn't. She just nodded. That was my big change. Before that, I was shy, a complete introvert. In grad school, I spent most of my time with my face in books. I rarely talked to anyone or noticed anything outside of my studies. That was how I managed through it. People with PhDs often think they are smarter than everyone else, but that's not true. There was a time when I focused so much on my studies that I could make the review board feel bored. They just wanted me to stop talking and go away. That's actually why I ended up with 2 degrees. I didn't want to teach classes or speak to people. I preferred a job that let me do research in peace. Unfortunately, there aren't many of those jobs, and I wasn't bold enough to get one. So I went back to grad school. It felt safe and familiar. Wow, you've changed a lot since then. The person you see now is very different from who I used to be. This woman, this life, came from strong determination and transformation. You are brave. You are confident. You are untouchable. Only someone foolish has no fear, she said in a more serious tone. Bravery is about facing your fears. She smiled and shook her head. Sorry if that sounds odd. I used to be a dedicated nerd. Sometimes I still hear echoes of that person in my mind. But it's true. I chose to be who I am now. During my recovery from surgery, I realized that the survivor who got out of bed had to be very different from the person who had been lying there. In a way, I felt like I had changed completely. The shy and nervous old me was gone. She was no longer there. I imagined myself as strong and confident. Those thoughts seemed strange compared to who I used to be. Becoming a performer felt like the bravest thing I could do. I almost felt deep embarrassment when I first stepped onto the stage as a beginner. I had never even worn a swimsuit in public before. Are you serious? She raised her fist as if ready for a fight. I promise it's true. Galaxy Quest, Alan Rickman. Nice reference. I can't get much out of you. It's just a quirky thing about me. Don't think too little of yourself, David. You have a great mind. You can do anything with it, including changing who you are. Especially that. Something she just said caught my attention. You called me David, not Dave. Is that okay? Yes, it feels normal. When Stephanie used that name, it meant I was in trouble. She only called me David when she was upset. Really? It feels more sincere that way. Yes. Would you like me to always call you David now? No, that's okay. I can call you whatever I want. It's common for people to change their names when they start a new chapter in life, especially women. They often tell their friends they want a new name. Is that what you wanted? Not really. Did you think about wanting a different name? I did think about it. But I realized that being quirky was the part of my old self I wanted to keep. She smiled softly, laughing to herself. That works for me. From a song. That song always plays in my mind like a little reminder. It gives me strength, which is good. Lots of things are good, Dave. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, you can still find joy in small things. We finished our drinks, and I took the car to follow Cookie to her house. Finding a parking spot was really hard, and I worried about leaving my things in the car. I grabbed a bag full of clean clothes and walked 4 blocks to Cookie's place. Sorry about the parking issue. I know it's tough to find a spot at this time. I packed almost everything from my house into the car. I hope everything will be fine. Can I drop off my bag here? As soon as I said it, I realized it sounded silly. Her apartment was small and filled with a lot of stuff. I felt out of place. How much stuff do you have, and how long do you need it to stay here? I can see that it's not ideal. I'm sure it will be fine for today. I'll think of a plan in the morning. She nodded. I know you don't want to be at the house when Stephanie's there, but we might need to find a more permanent answer for you. Stephanie isn't home right now. No one is on the bed. She might be at her boyfriend's place, but she usually comes to the restaurant looking for you, and now she's not even here. Yeah, it doesn't add up, does it? Maybe she would be at home with me if that worked out. I really don't know. Well, I said you could stay here for a few days, and you're always welcome at my house, but I'm not ready for you to always live next door. If you have such a big, empty house, why do we need to be crammed into this little space? Besides, it would be more fun to hang out. Oh no, I'm being a bother. I'm really sorry. I haven't been thinking about you. Stop that. You're not being a bother. Think of it as a chance to explore what we talked about before. Where would you like to live? I don't know. Not at your place? Not really. Do you want your own space? Yes, a place with room for the kids when they visit. They're in school now, but I want them to have a safe and stable place. They should have somewhere to keep their things and feel secure. So you want to stay in town? I haven't really thought about other places yet. But now we are. What's keeping you here? What would make you want to move somewhere else? We had to stay in the county because of Stephanie's job. Well, I'm not stuck here anymore, I guess. I work for a big company with offices all over the world. I could even get a promotion if I go to one of the port cities. For the last 20 years, I've been telling myself that I couldn't make the move. Would you want to make that move? I don't know. It could be a new beginning. It might help me get away from Stephanie, but I'm getting too old for that kind of thing. She looked at me. Who's old? Come on. I felt bad for saying it. I'm sorry, I forgot. It's okay. I have friends who are much younger than me, but they act much older. Yes, age brings some limits, but it also depends on how we see things and how we feel. Many younger people work so hard that they wear themselves out early. I guess that's true, I said. When we think about trying something new, we often say no right away. It's a way to protect ourselves, she explained. Our lives are comfortable because we are used to them. Sometimes we don't like where we are, but we feel safe when things stay the same. New chances can feel scary, and that's when we say no. I want you to fight that feeling, not because I want you to change, but because I want you to be open to new things. You've been holding back. You need to be ready to handle changes and stand up again. So forget about saying no. She nodded in support. That mindset doesn't help you. Where do you want to live? I'm not sure, I said, shivering a bit. But probably not here. I need to think about my options, I added. I know that sounds weak, but I'm good at planning. I gather facts, weigh my choices, and then I act. That's good, she said. And I realize I've stayed long enough. I'll book a room for a longer stay tomorrow. I can get a good rate. This is your space, and I get that, I replied. You've been more than generous. You still owe me dinner, and I still owe you sushi. You'll be here more nights, just not all at once, she smiled, with your things piled up like you're homeless. She looked at the ceiling and tapped her chin thoughtfully. I think it's nice you'll have some space, she continued. We risk getting too close if we keep this up. You'll become very attached to me, but that's not what you want. I'm just your divorce helper, not your dream girl. I care about you, and I want what's best for you. You need to sort through your own feelings. You're right, as always. You have a lot of wisdom. It's an old story, Dave, a sad one. She cooked a lovely fish and served it over rice with vegetables and 2 glasses of white wine. It was simple, but perfect. I love that you can be playful. Oh, you have no idea, she said, stretching. Stephanie isn't dumb. Definitely not, I agreed. She's very serious. When we talked about things, it felt like she turned into a different person. Her voice, her body language, everything changed. It was hard to have a normal talk with her. Yes, it's pretty normal. She became someone different. Not everyone acts like that. You're not like that, Dave. Remember, you're a great person. A lot of people see it that way, especially women. You're good-looking. You're mature. You have a positive outlook on life. You're kind, understanding, and good in a relationship. You'll be fine, but not with just anyone. With me, you'll do very well. You're in a better place than most. There's not much left to say. You like being married, right? Not just to Stephanie, but the idea of being married. You enjoy the stability, the respect, the identity. Being married gives you a sense of wholeness. That's true for me, too. But my first marriage was not good. It was never what I hoped it would be. I was comfortable with what I thought was perfect. Maybe too comfortable. I got used to it. The past few years have felt like a lie. The stability was fake. I wasn't truly a married man. I was misled. Now I wear my experience as if it protects me. Do you think you would want to get married again someday? Not right away, but eventually? I think I will, but it will take time. I need to work through my feelings and trust issues first. People who get divorced often marry again quickly, or it takes many years. I think you'll take a longer path. And remember, you don't have to fix everything, just most things. It's okay if things still hurt sometimes. You've faced your own struggles. It's nice of you to say, but I've promised myself I wouldn't date again. I doubt anyone could handle what I went through. The damage is done. It's like losing a limb. You can heal, but that loss remains. You learn to live with it and adapt. You can lead a full, happy life, but that part of you is still missing. And sometimes it reminds you of its absence. I didn't know how to respond. It's not that I don't trust men. I trust you, actually. I can't imagine you would ever hurt me like he did. The truth is, I never thought he would either. Sadly, many women face domestic violence every year. Every 11 minutes, a woman dies at the hands of a man. I feared I would become just another number. The only way I got out was to change everything. I lost the man I loved. It was a fight with anger, so I made a promise to myself, never again. I can't let myself be in that position again, no matter how I feel. I keep my promises. Her voice was strong. You keep your promises. I would say this every time. If I can't do something, I won't say I will. That takes real strength. I really believe it. You made me a promise. Yes, I promise to help you. I will be there for you. I'll help you through your troubles and beyond. You really mean it? Yes. Do you understand? I'm starting to get it. A thought came to me. I know I'm not the first one you've helped. I've met Liz. You help people with broken hearts like mine. How long have you been doing this? 24 years. How long? She paused for a bit. Your 30th, I think. Wow. Don't feel like just another face in the crowd. Every time is unique. It doesn't always go as planned. I'm not close with everyone, not at all. There's no one like you. It has been a long time since I met someone like you. I have very special plans for you if you're ready for them. Of course. What plans? I'll tell you later. You'll know when you're ready. For now, you still have much to learn. Like what? Well, for example, when people rush into marriage, they often want things to go back to how they were before. But that isn't always a good way to move on. Also, second marriages break apart more often than first ones. Even first marriages can end. So don't rush into marriage. Don't get too attached. Take time to figure things out. Even though we've become close, you shouldn't feel like you have to be serious with me. I know you have feelings. Feelings are normal. You can love me. I love you too. But I'm not going to be your girlfriend. I won't be your next wife. That's just not how it will be. You should know I'm different. This is a different kind of relationship. Friends with benefits? I shook my head. Not really. That label doesn't fit. She cuddled up to me again. You've been married and had one partner for 2 decades. You haven't had many different kinds of relationships. You know that every person is different. But still, people often think about the usual aim. Can we make it work? If things go well, they stick together and call it a lasting relationship. Boom! The American dream, white picket fence, keeping up with others, and meeting social expectations. You know how that is. You've lived it. Yeah, but it doesn't always have to be like that. You don't need to date every woman hoping for a long-term relationship. Not every good relationship has to last a long time. Not every serious relationship aims for forever. Sometimes a relationship is exactly what it should be. It lasts as long as it needs to, and it ends when it's time to end. What you both gain from it is what you really needed. At least, I hope so. You learn as much as you can, help each other grow, and then move on, making your lives richer. These moments become part of your story and who you are. I've had great relationships that I remember fondly. They were not just about the feelings while they lasted, but also about how they ended and when. I still cherish those memories. It hit me hard when I remembered Steph's surprised look after Liz told her that you don't have to have fun with everyone you love. I probably looked just as shocked. My thoughts were in the back of my mind, but she could tell how I tensed up. Think of it like going to school, she said. You enroll, take classes, and enjoy student life. You make friends and join in activities. You do your work, have fun, go to parties, and worry about tests. You learn how to take care of yourself while living your life as a student. And then one day you graduate. It's not meant to last forever, but that doesn't mean it was bad. It doesn't mean it was fake or a mistake. Just because it's over doesn't mean it failed. It was a success. You'll look back on it and see it as something good that you needed to experience, and you'll always be grateful you did it. Is that what this is? I asked. Are you my teacher? Well, I am a teacher, remember? But not in that way. Right now, you're like my apprentice. You will start as a student, become my partner, and eventually grow into your own amazing person. Maybe you'll even do better than me. That is what I hope for you. But I will always guide you. My arms wrapped around her and she held on tightly. Besides, there may come a time when you need to stand up for your beloved teacher, my young friend. I remembered we decided she was Batgirl, and I was Robin. I was meant to grow up and become Nightwing eventually. Now you're getting it. Is that what you planned for me? You're clever. Something like that. Quite similar, in fact, yes. And how many of your ideas ended up being like that? 2 out of 30. I told you you are special. I wasn't sure how to reply until an idea struck me. You shall be avenged. She smiled like a cute kitten. The next morning, Cookie had to wake up early. She wanted to hit the gym before her 8 o'clock class. She got me up by making some strange green smoothie in her blender. Gotta go. Lock up when you leave. Love you. She kissed me and left a clear picture in my mind. I gave myself a few more minutes to enjoy the soft bed. I felt, more than saw, a presence, like a shadow. And then I saw 2 green eyes flash. It was Sebastian, the cat. He disappeared as soon as I moved. I rolled off the bed, almost tumbling over, and took another quick shower in her slippery bathroom. I gathered my things and realized I wasn't going to live here. I would come back, but as a visitor this time. That's all I was now. Was I really just a visitor in Stephanie's life too? A traveler who would eventually move on? Was I a visitor in my own life? Was my entire life just a series of temporary moments? I tried not to create problems for myself, to leave a light mark wherever I went. My job in logistics was all about moving things here and there, building systems and making things work better. Was that all my life was? Just moving things around without ever settling down, making things ready for others but never enjoying them myself? I shook my head to clear my thoughts. No, don't think like that. It's okay to feel sad. Let it come and go. Don't let her control how you feel. Don't let it define you. Sadness and worry will pass. This is not who I am. That's not me. I make plans. I make choices. I see things through until the end. That's what I do. I took a job and focused on my tasks. I lost myself in my work for a while. Once I got ahead, I planned my next steps. I wanted to grow in this job. That part of my life was going well, just like the nickname Cookie. I had choices. I could even go abroad. Why not? The only thing tying me to this neighborhood was Jessie, but she could find better opportunities somewhere else. In 3 years, she could move. Who knows where? Maybe she'd meet someone who would take her away. Michael would probably land in Chicago. He knew what he wanted and nothing could pull him away from it. He was determined. It was time to be honest with myself. I didn't want to leave because of Cookie either. Whatever was happening with her was just starting. It had only been a week, but what a week it had been. Maybe things were not going the way I thought. I couldn't keep thinking about my feelings. It wasn't a relationship, not really. Was it? If it was, it didn't feel like anything I had experienced before. Maybe she was right. Maybe this was how things were meant to go. But it didn't have to last forever. I didn't know how long it would last or what it might become. I was spiraling back into doubt. Stop it, Dave. I decided to look for roles that the company could offer me in Chicago for the next few years, with hopes of moving abroad when the kids became independent. I sent a few emails and waited for a reply. I had arranged to stay for 3 months in a suite at a hotel that offered a corporate rate. It was just 1 mile from my office and close to shops and restaurants. The hotel even had a small gym. I thought about buying a bike for the long term. Should I get a house or a condo? Maybe a condo would be best. I need enough space for the kids. I wanted them to have their own rooms and their own space. They might not use it much, but I wanted them to have that option. Many families look forward to fixing up their kids' rooms to make space for themselves, but I was excited about creating new memories. Am I heading in the right direction? Maybe I just need a small apartment for myself. I focused on my work and spent the rest of the day looking into real estate. I received a few emails about moving to Chicago, and yes, they were really interested. After work, I went straight to my new apartment and unloaded my car. It didn't take long at all. I checked my phone, where Stephanie was trying to contact me again. I decided to ignore her. I cleared all her messages and sent just one telling her about the marriage counselor appointment we had for the coming Wednesday. She replied with more messages, but I didn't read them. This was the first night in 3 nights that I hadn't been with Cookie. To be honest, I had spent more time with her in the last week than I had with Stephanie in the whole past year. We had deep conversations, and I felt like someone actually cared about me. Just being close to each other felt great. It really was something special. Then I started to wonder how much Stephanie had been connecting with someone else. Probably a lot. My stomach tightened at the thought. She hadn't shared anything like that with me. No wonder our relationship fell apart. She was getting her emotional support from someone else. Was I not doing enough for her? I had heard that if you want to take charge of a situation, you must accept your part in it. What caused our marriage to fail? Was I ignoring her? Did she feel unvalued? Was I too relaxed? I didn't think so. The first thing she wrote in her goodbye letter was that I had been a wonderful husband and that I wasn't to blame for our problems. Was that true? Or was she just saying nice things? No, I think she was being honest. She wasn't shy about pointing out my flaws when she felt like it, but she never seemed resentful. Just then, my phone rang and it was Cookie. Hey, Dave. Hi, Cookie. Oh, you don't sound very cheerful. Are you feeling sorry for yourself again? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe I've been thinking too much. Well, that's part of life. You can't avoid it completely. Some things are going to happen no matter what. Just try not to let it spoil your evening, all right? All right. I wanted to check in with you and let you know I'm working at the club tonight. I'll be dancing on Thursdays and Fridays this semester. That fits best with my schedule. Didn't you wake up early today? Yes, it's a long day, but I have a 5-hour break in the afternoon when I usually take a nap. I just wanted to tell you that I won't be able to see you until Saturday. Oh, and if you think about coming to the club, I really don't recommend it. You might think you're okay with it, but trust me, watching me work will feel strange and uncomfortable. I wouldn't want you to go through that. Okay, I understand. I thought you weren't at the club anymore. Why did you think that? Jessica said her friends were looking for you. Oh, really? Jerome knows to tell the college kids I'm not there. I go to 4 different places in town, so I don't get in their way. I always use different names, too. I do get recognized sometimes, but it's not as often as you'd think. College guys usually don't have much money for strip clubs. I guess that makes sense. I wasn't that lucky when I was in college. Maybe you just didn't have enough confidence. Trust me, you are a treasure. Thanks. By the way, when you dance, do you always pick a name that starts with an S? Yes, actually. Why? Just curious. The guy in the private room called. Jerry's known me a long time. He said I was lucky enough to be one of your special cases. I mean, he said it wasn't great, but he said I'm safe with you. He's nice. Is he one of your special cases too? No, he's married to a wonderful guy named Daniel. They've been together for almost 20 years. I wouldn't have guessed that. What? He's gay. He just doesn't look very manly. He really cares about women and is great at understanding clients. Sounds like a good person for the job. He is. Anyway, I have to go now. I just wanted to check in. Did you get that long-term job at the hotel? Yeah, I'm already working there. Good. Also, you still owe me a dinner party. Can we plan it for Saturday? Oh, definitely. Saturday works. Where do you want to go? Surprise me. Just somewhere with healthier food. I thought Ruth's Chris sounded nice, but honestly, their food is too rich for me. Okay, dress nicely, but not too fancy. All right, so we both have a choice to make. Right. Have a great night. Don't feel sorry for yourself for more than about 45 minutes, okay? Then go out and do something fun for yourself, something you usually don't do unless you've had a drink. And don't do that. You'll thank me later. Okay. I promise I will. I'll make sure not to feel sorry for myself all night. I'll take care of myself and do something fun that I don't usually do. Good. I'll see you Saturday. Call me tomorrow, okay? I love you. I love you too. We finished our talk. I felt like I was building barriers around me. Maybe that was good. I thought about going to watch her dance again, but I knew that would be strange. I would feel jealous and sad, and that wouldn't help me. So I broke my promise and spent the rest of the evening lost in my own thoughts. The next day at work, I surprisingly got a lot done, even while looking up real estate online. I made up my mind to buy a condo, and I had several choices to think about, even if they didn't seem very realistic. Was I really planning to move? Maybe that would be better for my career. I didn't want to stay in this house. As for the kids, well, that situation was going to come up soon no matter what. I didn't expect them to live here for long. This place wasn't home anymore. It was just a house. That chapter had closed. Plus, I had my first meeting with a divorce lawyer at 2 in the afternoon. I collected all the papers I needed and got there on time. When I entered the room, I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I knew I had to see this through, but my lawyer, Alicia Swanson, was there. I had heard that men might do better with female lawyers and women might do better with male lawyers. I had no idea if that was true. I showed her my financial documents and the letter Stephanie wrote. "This is concerning," she said. "You know this is a no-fault state, right? What she did or why the marriage fell apart doesn't really matter, but it's not good for her. It was unwise of her to leave such things in writing. It could help your case." "What are we trying to achieve?" I asked. "I just want this over with. A fair split. We'll sell the house. There's a lot of value in it that we can use. The kids are grown now. Custody and support shouldn't be an issue, right?" "That's correct. But you're still responsible for their tuition. You're co-signing on their loans. Divorce won't change that. Any help you want to give them for a better future can go straight to them or into a trust for them. It doesn't have to go through Stephanie," she pointed out. She looked thoughtful. "But they are your kids, aren't they? Have you thought about DNA tests?" I had considered it. Stephanie said she wouldn't do that to me, and I made a little joke about it. But even if I did, they are still my children no matter what. I love them more than anything. I've been their dad their whole lives, and anything else won't change our bond. "Good attitude," she said. "Let's keep this option ready just in case things get difficult. I understand you want to avoid conflict, and I hope for your sake that everything goes smoothly. I want to help you, and I want to be ready for anything. Just taking the test will show your ex that you've moved on. I won't lie, I'm hurting. My life feels broken. I'm very upset. She really brought this on herself. But I want to keep things polite and calm, at least for now. And I want to keep the support payments as low as possible. I understand. With the differences in your incomes and how long you were married, support payments are likely unavoidable. The only way to stop them completely is if she gets married again. The letter she wrote could help lower the payments if she has a partner who supports her. Are they living together? From what I can tell, she is staying with him. Just staying? I don't think she has fully moved in, and I can't prove anything. Let's see if we can find out more. Maybe we should think about hiring a private investigator. I know a few good ones. I suppose that could save on support payments. But aren't private investigators expensive? It's a trade-off. If you wanted to enforce a prenup or something else, that might take longer, but to just slightly reduce the payments, it might not be worth it. It could take years just to get any benefits from it. Honestly, it would probably be easier to just ask her where she lives. "Are you still in the house?" "No, I was staying with a friend. Now I'm at an extended stay apartment near work, so she's not staying in the house. I changed the locks. She broke in and changed them back, locking me out, and yet she's not there? but she says she wants to come back. That seems weird. You're right. None of it makes sense. She sighed. It often doesn't. But we will figure this out. What matters is that you're both safe. Will she fight over the house, the money, or refuse to cooperate with counseling? Actually, I have a counseling appointment already set up. Really? You agreed to it? Yes. Not to fix things, but to work through them. I'm even paying for it. Well, it may or may not help. Don't get your hopes too high. However, your choice to attend counseling shows you want to keep things friendly. And the courts like that. Family court judges often dislike pointless arguments. I get that. Believe it or not, even lawyers don't enjoy it. Many of the cases we handle are pretty silly. I once fought for 6 weeks over who gets a coffee table that no one cared about. The truth is, people do end their marriages. You can't stay with someone who doesn't want to be with you. It just takes time for the legal side to catch up with what's really happening. Most of the time, when couples decide to get divorced, they both agree it's for the best, but they make the process longer because they want to hurt each other. Sure, that means more work for me, but honestly, everyone would be happier if they just finished it quickly. I think I get along with this woman. She was sorting through her papers, ready to end things for today. I told her I could be ready to file in about a week. Just let me know when and where you want to send it, at his house or work. Think about it. The time and place matter. A friendly setting is better for you right now. If necessary, I can be tough and argue if needed. You've given me plenty to do. But you said you don't want to fight, right? Yes, that's right. I'll think about it. When is your counseling session? On Wednesday. We'll see how it goes. Call me afterward. She put my papers in a box and tried to enjoy the rest of her day. Trust me, things could be much worse. I walked out of the office, turning to a new chapter. I called Jessica. It went to voicemail. Almost right away, I got a message. Hi, I'm with my mom right now. Not a good time. Call me at 8 o'clock. I sent her a cake emoji, which meant okay, but I called Michael instead. Hey, Dad, how are you? Any news? I just met with the divorce lawyer. Michael was quiet. Still there? I can't believe this is happening. The process has started. It will take about a week to file the papers and serve them to her. Then it might take a few months, maybe even a year, if things go quickly. We have a counseling session on Wednesday. I wanted to use it to talk to your mom, but I've been told it might not go as planned. I'm sure at some point they will want me to take blame for what went wrong in the marriage. Whatever the reason, you're not a failure. Dad, I can see why you might feel that way. I mean, I've read some about it. Your feelings are real and not unusual, but I'm not good at this. People often take these things personally. Kids tend to blame themselves when their parents get a divorce, even though it's not their fault. Oh no, Michael. You don't think it's your fault, do you? No, not really. Those thoughts have crossed my mind, but I can usually push them away. I haven't been out of the house in almost a year. And before that, it seemed like Mom wanted to keep us away from her problems, didn't she? You're right. She was only thinking about herself. I agree. Listen, I don't want to say anything bad about your mom. She's still your mom. Nothing will change that. I don't want to affect your relationship with her, okay? You won't. I mean, I don't like it, but I'll still think what I think. I just hope the girl I marry never does something like that to me. I want to believe she won't, but I can't be sure. I really hope you have better luck than I did. Maybe marriage isn't what it seems. Don't say that. I've read a bit about it. Young people today aren't getting married or having kids as much as before. Millennials took their time compared to Generation X, and you guys took longer than the baby boomers, too. Young folks seem to be rethinking these choices. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there is. You know what? What? I'm really glad I have such smart kids. I'm always here to help. Hold on a second, someone is calling me. It's Jessica. She's with her mom. You should answer. I'll call you back later. Bye. Love you, Daddy. Next chapter. 45 minutes later. Hi, Michael. Jessica is feeling pretty upset. She's mostly been crying. Oh no, is she okay? I'm calling her. No, I'm going to her now. Daddy, she said you wanted to talk. Oh, hi, honey. I'm okay. What happened with your mom? It was awful. She kept trying to suggest that Mr. Davenport should be part of our family. She wanted me to see him as a stepfather or something. What? I think she's lost it. It's probably perimenopause or something. I told her she was crazy. You would never agree to that, and neither would I. But it was like talking to a wall. She's made up this strange fantasy and won't change her mind. She really believes that Mr. Davenport is now part of our family. Yes, she really said that." Jessie cried again. "Daddy? I don't understand how she can do this. How can she do this to you? How can she do this to us? I don't know what's happening with her. Just breathe, Jessie. Try to calm down." "Yeah, little sister, we talked about this before." She cried for a few more minutes. "Jessie, I'm coming to get you." "No, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. I can't leave you like this. Let me bring you dinner. Let me be there for you, please." She didn't say anything. "Let your father help you." "For me? You're a good dad." "She said you're the best," Michael agreed. "I'm on my way. I'll be in a public place near my school. Text me when you're a 5-minute walk away." "Okay, I love you, Daddy. I love you, Jessie. And you, Michael. I love you too. Take care of my little sister." "Daddy, I will." We ended the call. I sent the text. Jessie got into my car with a bag. I guess she wasn't staying at the dorm. I took her out to dinner, but she could only eat soup. We hardly talked at all. After that, we went back to my hotel and sat on the couch. My strong, smart 19-year-old daughter seemed like a little girl again. I just held her close, and we could feel each other's breath. Sometimes, just being there for someone is enough. The next chapter began. Jessie spent the night on the fold-out couch, and I took her to breakfast before bringing her back to campus. It was Saturday, so we didn't have anywhere to be. Breakfast turned into brunch, and I also had a long phone call with Michael. Afterward, I took Jessie back to campus and started working on my emails. My move to Chicago was almost certain. If I wanted, I could be there in 6 weeks. The company would help pay for my move. I found 2 condos that I liked and sent them to Michael for his thoughts. Maybe in a few years we would be roommates. I also did my laundry. I had a week's worth to do, but it wasn't too much compared to before. I couldn't remember the last time I did laundry just for myself. I usually did it with Stephanie and the kids. While all this was happening, I texted Cookie to confirm our date at a tapas restaurant we had never visited before. Stephanie kept sending me messages, but I ignored them after what she had done to Jessica. I didn't want to be part of her fantasies. I met Cookie at the tapa restaurant. If you haven't been, they serve small plates of various dishes that you share. If you order enough, you will feel full. I thought there would be plenty of healthy options for Cookie. She loved the idea. "So, how's the extended stay treating you?" she asked as she kissed my cheek when we sat down. "It's okay. Not too crowded," I replied. "Yeah, you're always welcome in my space, Dave, but I can tell there really is just room for me here in the long run." "True. At least I won't hurt myself getting into your shower. You really should get a non-slip mat." "I have one," she said. "It's rolled up in an umbrella stand between the wall and the corner of the tub behind the hot water faucet." "Really? You didn't tell me it was there?" "No, I didn't think of it. I always shower at the gym or the club. I just use this tub to relax. It's great for that. Very calming." "Actually, I did think about it." "What?" "The missing shower mat. Stephanie's situation. It's crazy how much stuff can be lurking around that can be dangerous." My mood darkened, but Cookie saw right through me as usual. I thought of changing the topic and asking how she danced the last 2 nights, but I remembered her saying what happens in the club stays in the club. I wondered if she was hiding things and decided I didn't want to know. I also didn't want her to read my thoughts. "Dave, you seem miles away," she said. "Sorry, I guess I am. I have a lot on my mind, especially about Stephanie." "Well, yeah, and also about you," she added. "You were right when you said I shouldn't go to the club. I don't think it would have made me feel better. It would have been tough. And about the future, I've decided to go to Chicago. But am I excited for something new, or am I just trying to run away? I really don't know what I'm doing lately. I have no clue what's ahead of me or what I'm missing. Even with everything I've tried, I don't feel in charge of my life." She nodded. "You've been through something awful." "Yes, that's true. But we can't always control what happens to us. Usually we can't. There's a lesson you still need to learn. I've mentioned it before, but it hasn't stuck yet. When it does, you'll finally get it. Until then, it's just talk. But I'm a teacher. I'll find different ways to help you understand. Are you ready? Sure. We'll see. It will come to you when you're ready, not a moment sooner. The lesson is simple. Bad things happen, and we can't control them. What we really can control is ourselves. You have complete control over how you let things affect you. It's not an easy task. We can be tricky, and we don't always act as we intend. Things can impact us in ways we don't understand, making it hard to handle our feelings, but in the end, you are the only one responsible for how you respond to anything. I know that's true, but it's hard for me. No, forget it. Look at me. Look at what happened to me and who I am now. Change isn't instant. You can choose to fight through this for the rest of your life or decide to leave it behind. It's up to you and you alone. Now I want you to think of something. Picture a man who has faced something terrible. He feels like his life is ruined and that he has lost all hope for happiness. Not very creative, is it? He's not you. His name was William Ernest Henley. He lived in the late 1800s and faced many health issues. He lost a leg and spent most of his life in great pain. Here's what he shared about his struggles. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank all the gods for my unbreakable spirit. When life hit me hard, I didn't flinch or cry out. Though I was battered, my spirit was not broken. Beyond the place of anger and tears, only shadows loom. Yet I will face the storms of life without fear. No matter how tough things get or what punishment comes my way, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. The title of his poem is Invictus, which means unbeatable. He is hurt. He is bruised. From the outside, it may seem like he is destroyed, but inside, he is stronger. As long as he is alive, he is willing to keep trying. But even in death, he will not be beaten. He will not lose. He can be pushed down, but he will never give up. Oh my gosh, was all I could say. The world spun around and I had to grab the edge of the table to stay steady. Can you feel it? Yes. Oh, wow. Yes. Strength, David. Will. Determination. Unbreakable. Yes. Who is in charge? I am. Who controls your path? I do. I can't hear you. I do. Who decides your moves? I do. That's right. Unbreakable. Exactly. You faced tough times. It could be better. It could be worse. It doesn't matter. You choose how things will be. You choose because it's in your hands. Speak truthfully about yourself. Be honest. Make choices for yourself because you are the one who does. Be honest about it. You're not selling anything to anyone, not even to yourself. That's how to live. I hadn't had a drink, but I felt tipsy. Change doesn't have to happen all at once. It often can't. I just need to keep going. One day at a time, like they say in the steps. I don't expect you to just forget it, David. I just want you to keep moving forward because you want to. That's how you stay strong no matter what happens. Like when Worf was captured and kept fighting in the arena with Jim on DS9. Very good. I'm happy to be with another fan like me. I told you my mind was full of this craziness. Your mind and heart are filled with great things, Dave. I spent the rest of dinner feeling much better. And at the end, Cookie said, "Come with me." We were in a busy tourist area near the arena and convention center. There was a small jewelry store, hardly bigger than a booth, and she pulled me inside. Was she hoping for a gift? "What's your ring size, Dave?" "On your right hand, not your left." I said, "I don't know." "Never mind, here, they'll measure you." So they did. An old man had a bunch of different-sized rings on a loop, and he took my size while Cookie looked through the display. "This one," she said, choosing a strong ring made of titanium, not gold. "Is that an engagement ring?" I asked. "You're doing some writing, aren't you?" While we waited, the man nodded. "Good. Here's what I want," she said. "On the inside of the band. 3 words. Spread them out evenly inside. Not all together. Like here and here and here," she said, pointing. She took out a piece of paper and wrote down 3 words I couldn't see. "What are you doing, Cookie?" I asked. "It's a gift from me to you." "I can't let you do that." "You don't have to let me. I want to make it. You don't have to wear it. Toss it away if you want, but I will make it." "But you said..." "What did I say? You said it's not a relationship?" "It's not? Oh no, you misunderstood. It's from me to you. But the ring isn't about me. It's not about us. It's about you. It's meant to remind you. A reminder of what you'll see." She put the ring on my finger after the guy finished his work and paid with a card. It fit just right and looked good on me. Cookie has excellent taste. But I felt a bit strange. I had worn a ring on my left hand for 20 years, but never on my right hand. Now, everything felt different. I looked at the ring and read the words written on it. Strength, integrity, unconquered. She said, Let this remind you to be strong when times are tough and other lights seem to go out." I smirked and thought of Galadriel's gift. "The light of Aaron." Cookie grinned brightly, just like a star. "When it gets dark, when you feel lost or sad, touch the ring and remember. I hope you won't have to fight hard battles. I doubt it will come to that. I'm going to Chicago, not a land like Mordor." I kissed the ring and then gave her a kiss on the cheek. "Thank you, Cookie. I'll cherish this forever. I'll wear it and follow your advice, and I'll think of you and everything you've done for me." She smiled and said, "Don't get too emotional. This isn't goodbye. I'm leaving, but you'll come back. I'll be there for you. It may not be often, but I promised you a long drive, and I will keep that promise." "Okay, thank you. It's part of your journey, Padawan. Speaking of journeys, I've packed a bag. I want to come with you to your new home." Next chapter. Well, it was quite a night. Cookie and I enjoyed each other's company, and she relaxed in the shower. We didn't spend the afternoon together until after a quick breakfast. She had a lot of work to finish, and we both had things to do the next day. Michael was surprised that I had said I'd live with him, or rather, he would move in with me when he moved to Chicago in a few years, but he seemed happy about the idea. He couldn't wait to have his own place. But Chicago is expensive, and he would likely need a roommate. A roommate who can cover all the costs is the best choice. He didn't want to make any promises yet, but he said he liked one of the apartments more than the other. Monday passed with no issues. Tuesday was quiet too. The best part of the day was going to a sushi restaurant with Cookie. She paid for the meals. She was excited to see me still wearing my ring. I didn't take it off. To me, it was a new promise to myself. The sushi was much better than the first time, and the steak was delicious. Cookie really knows her food. She even taught me how to use chopsticks. It was her treat, but I noticed that it cost a lot more this time. We avoided talking about my meeting with Steph the next day, but I kept rubbing the ring anyway. Next chapter, Wednesday afternoon. A big day. I arrived at the counselor's office just on time. I didn't want to be late or look upset. I didn't want to get there too early and have Steph surprise me. So I thought it would be best to arrive right on time. I got there a bit early, parked my car in a place where she wouldn't see it, and walked in just a minute before our meeting. But she wasn't there. I moved around the reception area looking a bit lost. I found a chair and sat down with a cup of terrible coffee from a machine while I waited. After 10 minutes, I decided I had waited long enough. No one was at the front desk, so I walked around until I found someone to ask for help. A young woman was focused on her tablet. "Hi, I'm here to meet Jordan Koenig." "He's busy right now. You'll have to wait about an hour," she replied. "I'm part of a couple meeting with him. This is our first time meeting." "My name is David Jameson. What's yours?" I asked. She frowned a bit. "Let me check the schedule. Usually employees set their own appointments." She walked to the desk and tapped the screen. "Jameson, right? They're in room 4. I thought you would have arrived by now." I said thanks and headed to room 4, knocking on the door. A moment later, a young man opened it. "I'm sorry, but we're in a session right now and can't be interrupted. Cheney should have told you." "I'm David Jameson," I said. He looked surprised. "You better come in." Inside the room were Stephanie and her boyfriend, Lee Davenport. "Great! You made it!" Stephanie exclaimed. "It's disrespectful of you to be late, but at least we can finally get started," she added. "Stephanie, what is he doing here? Let me guess, you both came together? Did you let Jordan and Cheney think he was your husband?" I glanced at the counselor, who nodded. "You let them think that?" I waited about 10 or 12 minutes. "Well, that's what we're here to discuss, right?" I clenched my fist tightly, feeling my knuckles turn white. I took a deep breath and rubbed the ring on my finger. It was a gift from a friend, a symbol of strength and integrity. "Stay calm, Dave," I told myself. I was ready to argue, but Stephanie spoke first. Jordan decided to step in. "Mrs. Jameson, is this your husband and is this your partner?" Jordan asked. "Bringing him here is not acceptable. He's not part of your marriage. Just you two should be here." Lee sat still, looking nervous, like a small lizard trying to avoid danger. "We're meant to be together," Stephanie said. "I thought this would be a chance for all of us to sit down and talk like grown-ups and sort things out without you getting upset, David." Jordan looked at me. I figured that saying less would work better for me. "David isn't upset," Jordan said. "He seems to be quite composed." Honestly, I'm sure he sees this man's presence here as something that needs to be addressed, I added. And what would you say? All right, yes, this man is a therapist. What's the old joke? How many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? How many do you think? It's a silly joke. Anyway, it was my turn to speak. How did I feel? I couldn't think of a better way to show how my marriage had failed. My ex-wife is clearly not thinking straight. If she believes I will be part of her drama, she's mistaken. I headed for the door. I'll pay for today's session, but not for another. I'm not coming back, please. The three of you need to help Stephanie see how messed up she is. She's being really childish. A grown person would have at least stayed and talked about it. She seemed strangely happy. Stephanie, I really hope you understand one day. Expect a notice by the end of the week. I'm done with you. I left. Those were the last words I would say to her in person for over 6 years. Next part. Alicia Swanson was true to her word and acted quickly. She even got a restraining order against Stephanie after her little stunt in the counselor's office. Stephanie got the papers at Lee Davenport's house just over 2 days after I left. Of course, she tried to make things difficult, but I didn't need to stay in that house. My bond with Michael and Jessica was strong. I moved to Chicago and got busy with work and settled into my new city. I didn't need to rush into marriage again. I could wait as long as it took. Even if the divorce took forever, I was already finished with being married to her. For now, I wasn't going to live like before. Stephanie didn't want to sell the house. That was fine with me. She didn't live there, and neither did I. The house was mostly paid off, and there was a lot of value in it. So I continued to pay the mortgage. It wasn't a big deal. She would have wanted custody of the kids if she could, but that didn't matter since they were already grown. Besides, they believed she wasn't acting right. They bought a DNA test kit just to send a message to Stephanie. She wanted to fight, but I didn't respond. In the end, Alicia was correct. The hard truth is that you can't stay married to someone who doesn't want to be with you, especially if they are willing to do anything to get out. This process took 21 months. Steph married Lee Davenport before the ink was dry on our divorce papers, which saved me a lot in support payments. That marriage lasted about 10 months. It seems her affair was a big part of their relationship. Once he became her husband, everything fell apart. He found another job in a different area, and a year later, he moved away. She remarried and stuck with him for a bit. Then he cheated and left her. After that, she started dating another woman and quickly moved in with her. There's an old joke about what a lesbian brings on a second date. The answer? A truck. I know, it's a silly joke and not funny at all. Anyway, this new relationship turned into the typical way many lesbian couples lose their spark. Now she often sees other men on the side and calls herself polyamorous. But I bet most of her partners don't see it that way. Moving to Chicago helped me climb higher in my job, and now I'm really thinking about retiring. Michael moved in with me after he graduated. We lived together for almost 2 years until he met a girl he liked and moved in with her. I'm sure she's more fun to be around. They got married, and I'm excited about becoming a grandparent soon. Jessica doesn't seem to want a long-term relationship. She is traveling the world, working different jobs here and there, catching up with old friends from school and making new ones. I figure she'll settle down eventually, but she's not in a rush. Maybe she's on to something. After all, marriage isn't for everyone. I've never been married, and I'm not sure if I want to. I still get a lot of attention from divorced women my age, and I really don't want to deal with that again. Plus, I have trust issues, I admit it. But I think I have good reasons for how I feel. He was right, LaDonna. Mobile. I still wear the ring Cookie gave me every day, and I touch it often for strength. I still have a relationship with Cookie, even though we never went further than what I've mentioned. She visits my town for spring or fall break sometimes, and I take a long weekend to go see her. Sebastian isn't scary around me anymore, but it took him a few years to get comfortable. Oh, and she included me in her next book. The book, Dr. Heartbreaker, looks at the support networks that pop up for people who have recently divorced. I was one of her success stories. Next chapter. During one of her visits, we were walking around Centennial after a day of exploring. There's so much to see there. We went to the Field Museum and had dinner at Lou Malnati's. She really enjoyed it, even though she complained about too much cheese. By the way, I figured something out, I said without looking at her. What did you figure out? Your tattoo? No, that's not what I figured out. Her sad smile looked more like a smirk. No, I figured it out. I don't need to guess, I'm sure. You can be sure, but I promise you're wrong. She took my hand. just do me a favor and don't dismiss any of your guesses. We've been through a lot together and become very close. That's not unusual for me, but I'm sure it is for you. You think you know me well enough, but no one does. No one truly understands. Sometimes I let people guess in all sorts of ways and they still never know. But in your case, it makes me feel sad for you, dear David. It's better to keep things uncertain and untouched. Trust me. I held her hand gently and turned to touch her face. The reason no one has ever understood it right, I said, is that everyone thinks it means 3 different things. That's not true. It's the same thing said 3 times to make it strong, like a special tradition or sign. Her eyes grew wide. She let go of my hand and stepped back a little. What? How could you? She closed her eyes, shook her head, and shivered. No way. I pulled her close and placed my hand between her shoulder blades, right where the tattoo was. I leaned in and whispered softly, humming a sweet tune full of joy and magic. Cookie, that's good enough for me. As I hummed, I traced a C with my finger along one of the 3 curved lines in the tattoo. She sighed. C is cookie. That's enough for me. The second curved line was an upside-down C. C is cookie. That's enough for me. The third C connected the ends of the first 2, finishing the design. Oh, cookie, 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 cookie. I drew a circle around the design as she did. I made sure to touch each of the 3 shapes, saying cookie each time. She shivered in my hands. I pulled back to look into her eyes. They were bright and filled with tears. It's always in your mind. It's like a little reminder. You find strength in it. That's what you said. She nodded. The tattoo is your name, I said. Or it's more like your signature, written in a way only you can understand. It is your identity. This design is a part of you. Now that you are an adult, this is your truth and your strength. Why can't a simple joke or a child's song be something very real? It can be both. You taught me that. But that's not all. Go on, she said softly as tears fell down her face. Why do we put our names on things? What does a signature mean? I replied. It means we say these things are ours. We take care of them. If someone's name was on you, it would mean you belong to them forever. It would be clear to everyone who sees it. But you put your own name on yourself, forever. You have said that you belong to yourself and no one else, not to anyone else. No one will know what it means just by looking. It's a private promise. You have done it 3 times, signed it, sealed it, delivered it with symbols that have special meaning just for you. Whenever you dance under another name, it always starts with C. You also use the special number 3. That number shows up all around you like magic. 3 is a magic number. That's what you learned in school. And of course, C is the 3rd letter of the alphabet. As I talked, she nodded more often, moving her head up and down with my words. I couldn't believe what I was feeling. I thought about how special she was. You belong to yourself, don't you? You've said this many times, but others don't really understand, do they? They think that love is too strong, that the needs for romance will take over eventually. But right now, you seem to be holding back. You're denying a part of yourself. I accept who I am, she said. That's true, but people miss that. They think I've given in to my past. That's where it all began. It's hard to move on from what I've faced. There's no one else for me. There never has been, and there never will be. She looked at me like she could see right into my soul. That's not just a bad thing, it's a truth. I belong to myself. In the end, everyone belongs to themselves. We are wrong to think otherwise. The key is knowing that I am enough. Yes, you are truly enough. And I'm glad you are, my friend. I wouldn't trust anyone else with you. She broke down, crying and holding me tight, like I was her only support in a rough sea. Thank you, she said after a while, taking a moment to gather her thoughts. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for valuing me. That respect is so vital. It's often missing in many relationships, I said. I'm proud to be part of this, and I'm proud of you. Proud of what? You've made your life meaningful. You found a purpose. I fear many of us don't do that. We just go through the motions. You're right. Many of us end up just wandering. Changing the world isn't easy, she said with a scoff. There's something I need from you, Dave. What is it? Anything at all? First, I want you to stay safe. I believe you will be okay. But you will face tough times too. Just keep going, get better and grow. Whatever you need, I'll support you, along with others. But you're ready for this. You deserve it, even if you can't see it yet. I'm going to need help as well. Of course. In what way? With work. It feels like too much. She looked at me then. There are so many people hurting every day in the world. It's true that everyone suffers. So, I need you to do what I do. It doesn't have to be big, just now and then. Just enough to help someone when it counts. To give back, you know? Sure, I can do that. Yeah, okay, I'm in. What do I have to do? Just listen. Just be there for me. Just help others, just like how you help me. Stay present and matter, even when they don't realize it. Everyone wants to feel heard. Everyone wants to feel important. You can do it, Dave. Just reach out to them. Connect with them. Each person is unique, so you'll have to approach each one in a different way. Sometimes you might share a moment together. Other times you might sit quietly and fish with them. Do whatever it takes. Just be ready to build connections. When you see someone who's hurting and keep your promises, it matters. I can do that. Good. You'll see it can help. Helping others often makes you feel better yourself. She shivered a little. You said that on our first night together. Why do I do it? It's the main reason I'm still here. Moving on. This is what I'm planning to do when I retire. When Cookie and I meet up, we often share our experiences after we've had a good time. Hey, we're getting older, but we're not done yet. It's only been a few years, and I already have my fourth friend. Maybe this one will be my best buddy. You never know. Life is strange. It's not what I expected before Steph had her breakdown. But it's nice. It's comforting. It makes you feel valued, and that's enough for me. Thanks for listening to One Infidelity Hit. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop us a like.